Hello, everyone, and welcome to
SmashBoxx.
Wow, you'd think I'd get it 20 shows in. Welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast number 20. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, joined back here in my not-so-comfortable and cozy studio with Johnny V. Back in Milwaukee, ladies and gentlemen. It pains me as much as it pains everyone else.
Really?
This isn't awesome. And I didn't miss your face. I'm just saying.
Aww.
I didn't. No, I'm. It's one thing to be home to the family and all, but to be back here next to you.
No, I understand.
I'd rather be at Duke's.
Yeah. I mean, I just sat here and sang when you were going like all by myself.
I believe that, actually. I think probably our viewers believe it too.
That's well.
Wow. So, podcast number 20. We I guess we rifled through a handful while in Arizona.
Yep.
And we're back at it here on Tuesday nights again. Is Tuesday nights the foreseeable future? I start up a league night in the Milwaukee area on Wednesday nights, and that's probably at the end of this month. Tuesday nights still probably the game plan?
I don't know. Why don't you ask your other co-host, Dana?
Yeah,
who you were clearly cheating on me with.
There was a lot of other people that sat next to me in that booth.
I know.
There was a blonde in Zoe Andike who was far better looking than both of you. She sat in.
Really?
And there were a few others that sat in there too. I'm not saying you guys, your jobs are secure, but or anything, because they're not. But.
Well, yeah.
So we hope, obviously, that everyone enjoyed the coverage out there. We're going to be talking a lot about it tonight. We're also going to be discussing some actual specific tournament details and whatnot with Dana. And I foresee us kind of going out to the board for maybe more questions than normal. We do not have a quote-unquote featured guest lined up for tonight's show. We're just really wanting to focus on wrapping up the memorial and the excitement that it was.
Our final wrap-up show, as we were calling it. So
yeah, so not necessarily featured guests. I'm sure we'll have one again next week.
For sure.
I don't think I ticked off the entire pro population, so we'll probably have somebody here next week.
We can find someone that you haven't ticked off.
I don't think I've ticked off most of them, or any of them. I don't know if any of them. I don't think I made any pros mad this week.
I don't know if I'd bet on that.
Or at least that I know of, or that they told me anyway. We see a ton of people out on the board. Thank you guys so much. Of course, one thing we'll be doing tonight, Mach X giveaway. And I'm not talking about the razors by Gillette.
See, I thought we'd, just tease people. Just get to the very end and be like, all right, see you next week. We're going to give it away next week. We're going to try to drive up the numbers.
Or as we draw, maybe the show just conveniently cuts out.
That's not bad either.
It seems to do that at inopportune times once in a while. However, no real issues later on in the week, but that was was good. So we see out on the boards. Let's take a quick look. Of course, Jordan Castro. You got plenty of play this last week talking about his ace on 14.
We'll bring up the aces later.
Yep. But Jordan's out on the board, of course. Keith Vance is always here. Gary to the O, our amazing cameraman for the week, and Nick Lelm, Dustin Skorpinski. Dustin, we miss you in studio, pal. You could be here. SETI 111, of course. And wow, let's see. Benjamin Ferris is a regular. Matt Series always in. Billy Bednar. Billy, we don't have a prodigy guest today, so I hope you're going to be okay with that.
I think he'll be all right.
But thanks for tuning in. So plenty of people out there. We've got a lot of things to do tonight, actually, and I'm really excited to do it.
There's a lot of news.
Do we want to bring Dana on and get started with him, or is there anything else we want to do first?
I guess. I mean, fine. Just replace me.
He's
good.
He's real good. He did well.
He did do well. There was a lot of it. Well, let's get Dana online, and then we'll talk about that.
Boom goes the dynamite.
That's Dana.
That's Dynamite. Boom goes the dynamite. Welcome to the show, buddy. I see you are. You got that fireplace going behind you? Because it's not exactly as pleasant here as it was in Arizona, is it?
let's get to this first. What do you mean you don't have a featured guest tonight? What am I to you guys?
You're not a featured
How many
guest.
times are you gonna insult me?
I don't know how much more time do we have.
I know. Once you log off, then we really get at you.
Yeah.
I got a lot of other podcasts getting at me to come on their show.
You know, it
Pays a lot better.
I was gonna say, go where the money is, Dana.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Personal comments aside. All right. Yes. Well, thank you, Dana, for being here. We consider you a regular. You are a fixture here.
You're not featured.
Okay.
You're an everyday man.
Yeah. I mean, what
All
more
right,
could people
right.
want?
I
Well,
can live with that.
yeah. Well, we're glad you're here. And anytime that you're not here, we're glad and very thankful that AJ Risley, the disc golf boy, has stepped in. And, like I said, we're talking about adding some new segments a little later, but we'll get to that later. What do you have for us, Mr. Dana?
Well, I wish I was sitting next to a fireplace, but as everybody knows, it's just a brick wall in our spare bedroom. So,
You got to get
But
some. You got to
anyways.
get some decorations up behind there. That's what you got to do. Something cool.
I think it's pretty cool.
It is.
Maybe maybe I can get Miles to make me some sort of I don't know, SmashBoxxTV or Big Hug thing to hang or something like that.
Sure.
I like the idea of that.
Yeah, maybe once I get paid, I'll buy one of those.
You've got so many sponsors, Dana. I don't know how your entire house isn't just littered
Your-
with banners everywhere.
Your payment is the massive exposure we're giving you. Right?
Yeah, there's triple digits watching, bro.
Yeah.
Plus all the downloads afterward, and man, what more do you want?
And to speak on that, I just want to say thanks to everybody that reached out to me in person at the memorial, came up and talked about big hugs or the being a smashy or whatever. UC Maresma I guess he tunes in because I ran into him on Saturday, and UC said, "How do I get a big hug?" I said, "Come here, UC." Gave him a big hug.
That's good.
Thank you to everybody. And I get a lot of messages, and thank you to all of you for messaging me. I do appreciate it, and thank you for tuning in. I hope I don't trip over my words and bore you with things, but it's bound to happen.
We're just glad you could join us, and we definitely appreciate you as an asset here to the show, and I know the rest of the world does as well, so we're glad to have you, buddy.
Thank you. So before we get hot and heavy on the memorial action, there's just a couple other tournaments that I wanted to really quickly touch base on.
There were other tournaments. I don't
What?
I don't recall seeing anything else.
How
I checked
many-
all the other live streams.
I know.
There was no other tournaments going on.
That's what I was gonna say. I didn't see any other live tournaments, but what'd you find?
Well, one that caught my eye was actually took place at one of my favorite courses that I've played over the years, Earlwood in Columbia, South Carolina. They had the Earlwood Classic B tier, and the tournament is so popular, it usually fills up in minutes that they've now split the weekends between Am and Pro. This weekend was the Am side, and Jesse Merritt, who is a smashy, actually came back from a huge deficit on the final day and got himself a little victory. So nice work, Jesse. And then, still on the East Coast, in Spotsylvania, Virginia. Do you guys remember a while back when I told you about Andrew Fish?
Yeah, you said to look for big things from him. Is that what you said?
Watch out. Fish
Watch out
went
for
off.
him.
He went off again.
Would you say fish went off the hook?
I don't think he would say that. I don't think there's at any point. I'm going to start limiting you to like one bad joke a podcast.
Good luck.
And after that, I bring in Colin.
I mean, really, it was just too easy. But sorry, Dana. Go on.
You could have said something like, he was a big fish in a little pond or anything like that. But no, you went with the... Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Dana. What about Fish?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even, in my notes, I didn't even make a joke about Fish, and because I knew Terry was going to step in. And
Yeah.
But anyways, at the L'Orealla Challenge, he went 1060, 1073. And it was a 2-round tournament, B tier. and that was good enough for a 7-throw win over a pretty stout field. Stephen Miller ended up in second place, and then T-Dog's buddy, the lover boy, Nate Cron, finished in third.
Yeah.
So good shooting again to Fish. I'm interested to see if he can do something at one of these bigger tournaments, but so far so good in 2015 for Mr. Fish. So let's talk Memorial, as if we haven't talked about it enough.
Well, we talked about it for 3 days, and then everybody, you wouldn't believe, Dana, the number of messages I got on Saturday afternoon to Saturday night screaming, when's the podcast? When's the when's the finale? When's the follow-up? Are you having a podcast tonight? And I had to keep responding. It's like, no, it's just with the awards. Everyone always knows the awards there run long. Getting people back, getting Terry back to Dukes, there was no way it was going to happen. And we knew that going into it, which is why we never scheduled one. We knew that today would be our final kind of wrap-up show about it. So it was ridiculous.
Yeah. I thought it was ridiculous that Terry literally was live all afternoon and then would maybe eat dinner, or most likely not eat dinner, and then go right into the live show. I know I showed up late a few times because I was eating dinner and doing some other things, but Terry, good work, man.
Thank you. That's why I always keep a little reserve in the tank. So if I have to skip a meal once in a while,
that wasn't just the camera adding that.
No, surprisingly, I do have to get those lenses clean. But that's why I always have a little reserve in case I got to extend the day, so to speak. One question before you go into it, and it came in off the board, and I actually, a few of the minutes I saw over the last few days was the role of Felberg's on hole number 6 at Fountain Hills. It was just asked out there, what exactly happened when it rolled out of bounds? Our second camera kind of cut to it, and we kind of missed it. But, obviously there's a high likelihood of a disc rolling if it hits just in the wrong spot on that hillside on 6 at Fountain, final day. Yep. And Felberg's rolled out of bounds. There's probably a pro tip in here we can talk about too. But just real quick, you were right there on the spot, so to speak, literally on the spot. What happened there?
Well, I guess Felberg watched my whole preview on not what to do there. And, so he did land on the hill, and it rolled out of bounds, and then once it got into the road, it rolled about 35 feet backwards down the road. So I ran over and marked it with my cell phone where he went out of bounds. Didn't pick up his disc because, if you know Dave and you know the rule, disc golf, you shouldn't. You should let the players come up, see where it went out, let them know that, hey, I marked it where it went out of bounds. That's where it ended. And this gentleman, I believe Rob Ryan, if anybody knows him, let's put it this way.
Rob Ryan from the West Coast.
Rob Ryan,
Ryan.
Who's frequently finds himself creating and stirring, and then stirring more controversy with just about every post
Facebook.
he makes.
Yeah, on Facebook. He likes to, and I don't know the guy personally, but I know he likes to nitpick the rules and throw out crazy scenarios and ask that, which isn't the worst thing. I mean, if you have a funny question regarding the rules and you're not sure, his big push, I remember maybe it was a couple years ago, was if you mark your disc, the disc you pick up, you can't put in front of your mini. Like, you can't just set your disc down because that's advancing the disc. That was his huge argument for about a month on Facebook. That he said you had to put it behind you or something crazy like that. I don't even
remember that dumb one.
I just specifically remember that one. So there was a huge long argument.
So it's fair to say politely,
he's a little rabble rouser, which is
he likes to create drama.
Sure.
Would that be fair to say, Dana? Is that the politest way we can say that?
Yeah, he was honestly begging to get knocked out.
Oh, wow.
Just from that or in general?
Yeah, from Felberg? I'd like to see that.
No, not Felberg. But anyways,
okay.
Let's just say I didn't appreciate the way he treated the situation, and I thought it was disrespectful and wrong of him all around. And I mean, I guess I shouldn't have, judging by all his Facebook posts, day in and day out making a fool of himself. I shouldn't have expected anything different, but I didn't think it was. Yeah, thanks for getting my. Geez, I feel like I'm on the phone with Comcast. My blood pressure's rising.
No, wait, real quick. Was he the one that picked up the disc?
Oh yeah, yep. So he actually,
Okay.
He picked, and I told him, hey, don't pick that up, man. That's Feldberg's disc. You're gonna want to see where it ended and blah blah blah. And he just, I don't even know what he was saying at that point, but he picked it up and went and moved it over and leaned it against the curb and just like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a pro tip there. I mean, he's a pro master, but.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Was that Rob Ryan yelling from the other room? What was that?
What just happened? All right, time out here.
Time out. This is like Zach Morris.
Yeah.
We can't. Stop. When I came home from the memorial, we found out that we have some mice in the house.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I guess Ashley just walked up into our room and she's on. You know, I laid out some. My fingers smell like peanut butter. I laid a bunch of mouse traps out.
Oh, and were you successful?
I just put them out a little bit ago. Hence my.
Yeah.
But anyways, so she's on edge, and I think a bug or something. She walked into the room in there. Jesus.
Wow. Yeah.
All right, Ashley. We hope you're all right.
You all right? She apologizes.
That's okay. This is live. I mean, this is what happens. You know, you can't predict these things.
My heart's racing already.
Dana's never heard her scream like that.
Anyway, go on.
Where were we?
So we were
so
talking.
He picked up the disc.
We were talking about a pro rule, and Dave.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just to get past it, Dave's a person who, in general, can be a little bit edgy at times when he's playing. He's a great guy off the course, but he can be a little bit edgy when he plays. So of all the people, that's not really the disc you want to pick up, probably. And so, you know, it's just a move. If you happen to see a disc, don't pick it up.
Yeah.
Right?
It wasn't in the middle of a busy road. It was literally like right next to the curb, and there was no reason to insert. You know, he didn't need to insert himself into the situation, and but anyways, it sounds like it's par for the course with that guy. I wonder, and he's always it's funny, he's always posting about, I wonder why I'm not sponsored, or why won't Innova sponsor me. Yeah.
Well, so pro tip, the takeaway here is anytime someone's disc is out of bounds, especially in such a high pressure situation, but if someone's disc is out of bounds, they like to see where it ultimately landed. Yes, there's cameras there. Yes, there could be 100 spectators that, you know, aren't messing with him, so to speak, but a lot of players like to see where their disc ended up, and it's just best if they retrieve it, because then there's no second guessing. Well, where did he put it? Who picked it up? Why, you know, was it there? Did it get kicked? Did it get moved? Just leave the disc alone unless they ask you to retrieve it. Just leave the disc there. That will alleviate this entire situation. And like you said, people can get worked up. So is it fair to say that Dave wasn't thrilled when he came up, and then he second guessing? Okay, well, where did it go out?
No.
And where is it? Was Dave part of that, or was no?
Well, I can imagine. I don't know, when they saw that it was me, that I said, hey, I marked where it went out. This idiot over here picked it up and moved it. So it was all fine. Dave took it in stride, and it didn't seem to work him up or anything.
Well, that's good.
Okay, fair enough.
Not like it worked me up.
Okay.
All right.
So thank you. That was one of the first questions. Sorry, and that was probably longer than we thought, but that was one of the first questions that came in off the board. I know one of our cameras got the disc going up. Gary, who was on the back camera, he kind of got it, and it was kind of at the tail end of that situation. It was tough to tell exactly what was going on. And then seconds later, I think your replay showed, seconds later, Simon Lizotte was, if you really slow down his shot on hole 6 there, that wasn't more than 12 or so inches from going in the basket. It's coming in a straight hyzer.
Yeah, we cut to that just in time to see it basically spike the dirt. It was pretty good. Yeah. So my question is, Dana.
Yeah.
Who won? I don't know if I saw. Who won the memorial?
Germ.
Germ.
Big Germ Coling.
Oh yeah, that
Yep.
guy.
He won in a
yeah.
playoff.
He was the one in he was the one in orange.
Yeah, that guy.
He's the big guy, yeah, that hit the I don't know, roughly 58-foot
58,
putt on hole 18.
58,
And,
65, 72. I've heard three different answers. Terry said, I think you said 65 or 70 in the round during the round.
Yeah, I was trying to
But-
basically double the, seeing if it was about double the
double circles. Okay.
double the circle. It was amazing. I mean, and if you look at it the way it came in, the fact that it was in, a kind of an Anheuser loft downhill.
Yep.
And then
Yeah, it looked honestly when he let it go, it didn't look like he was trying to put it in. It looked like he was kind of trying to give it a chance, but not miss and roll away is what it looked like. And I think I won't say he got lucky by putting it in by no means, because I'm sure he was trying to at least get it in the general area. But I think it was advantageous, clearly, that it went in and didn't, hit, because it hit on the left side, I think, a little bit, and then it could have just as easily fallen out, but it fell in, which was, phenomenal. I mean, and that was just, it was great.
I mean, he gave it a safe run with the slope of the ground and doing a straight hyzer putt. Odds are, if he was to not hit any metal, he would hit and quite possibly roll out of bounds or roll pretty far. So, doing that little floater flex putter shot or putt, that was the safe run to give it a chance, and boy, he nailed it.
Yeah, he did. That's for sure. It was exciting.
Yeah, and if everyone has commented, and rightfully so, that I was screaming like a little girl.
Oh, you
and
not so
I'm
much
not ashamed by that.
Not so much when that one, but when after that, when Paul came up and hit his 40-footer or whatever it was, 40 to 50-footer, that's when your voice jumped up 2 octaves, saying that we were getting more golf. Go take a look. Anyone that wants to go take a look at that, you can hear Terry go back about 25 years back into puberty, and you'll see exactly what we mean.
It was exciting. Clearly, the entire crowd erupted, as they should have.
Yeah.
And
I had goosebumps here watching it, and switching the show and just trying to pick the best angle to show everybody, and I was still getting excited about it. And I don't always get a chance to actually take in the golf what I'm seeing. I see so much of it, I'm flipping back and forth, but I was focused on that one.
Well, to have him make that shot to answer.
Yeah, you screamed like Ashley, is what you did.
Yeah, there you go. Screamed like Ashley. That would be a good way to put it.
Can we get a GIF of Terry's little...
Oh, we can. Don't you worry.
I think there's some GIF on your fingers, buddy. Hey, yo.
Oh, was that too?
I don't know. It's
no, that was all right.
Is that computer joke or peanut butter joke?
A little both.
Well, then I did good.
That's all right. So Germ ends up going to the overtime. Macbeth throws out of bounds. Germ wins with the putt. I think once Paul saw where Germ was, he knew it was 99% chance Germ wasn't going to miss that. And when Paul missed for circle 3, it was over at that point. So who else? So Lizotte kind of threw first place. I won't say threw first place away. He's an aggressive player, and he played. I thought he played a little too aggressive. What do you think, Dan?
I think he was just a little off his game. I don't know. I can't quite say why or what. Maybe it's just the learning curves. Going through the steps. You gotta lose a few and be in those situations before you become McBeast.
Yeah. I mean, when you're, it's McBeast was cold as ice on those putts, and you're right. And maybe Simon will pick that up. I know him and Macbeth are pretty good friends. It looked like Simon was trying a little too hard, like he knew he had to get something going, and he just couldn't. He kept looking for something, and it just wasn't there.
Well, and I think what part of the storyline, and a lot of people will talk about how it all developed, how it all unfolded, even getting to that point, to those last few holes, seeing uncharacteristically, I'll say, Macbeth miss on 14, which is the one Jordan Castro, shout out. Jordan Castro had aced earlier in the week, that downhill. He missed, and Germ hit from, I think he was almost right on the line or just a few feet inside the line. So Macbeth, gave up a stroke there. They both got 15 with solid putts. That's a long hole. And then them both missing 16. I mean, big germ right out of his hand. It'd be awesome if you were queuing up our footage to look at this. But big germ just right out of his hand. Just looked like he kind of fluffed it, just short. Sure. I mean, he had, I think he said something on the tee about it. He just basically didn't throw it hard enough. And at 360 feet, well within his range, obviously, by at least 100 feet. Yeah. And he just threw it short, and it was a bad throw off the tee. And then I was thinking at that point, well, Macbeth is clearly going to capitalize and go up one here. And when Macbeth didn't, it was really surprising. He missed from about 25 or 28, whatever it was. He was past the basket, and that was shocking. Again, another putt that he didn't make, which is very surprising. 18, neither of them got down there and got the putt. And then obviously on 18 there was excitement. 17, I'm sorry. Yeah. And then on 18 there was plenty of excitement. But some would look back. I know you do it with any missed putts. Any missed putts or sport or whatever. But you look back and you think like it was really uncharacteristic to see that from Macbeth both on 14 and 16. 14 was a little tougher, had a lower hanging ceiling with some branches there. But 16, I mean, he makes from there, as he proved in a video earlier, but he makes from 25 feet with his eyes closed. And so that was pretty surprising. Dana, where were you when that happened? No, but where were you at that point? I mean, your round was over. It was the last 2 or 3 cards, the last 2 or 3 holes. Were you watching on a computer, or were you walking around taking in all the action?
I was done for a while, so I played early.
I went.
I caught a few holes of the lead card, and then once they hit the backup, I hopped up a few cards and followed Kale and Paul and watched them for a few holes, and then waited around and watched the lead card come back and finish through the stretch. But on 14 with Paul's drive, I feel like that one got did he throw a Thunderbird or a PD? He ended up pretty far off the hand. It looked like a really good drive, and it just got very stable at the end. I wonder if he had a slightly seasoned one in his bag that may have helped him out. But, so that was it was un-Macbeth-like to miss the putt, but you got to think about missing that bag and all the discs that he had nicely seasoned, because that one got really stable at the end and caught quite the skip. So
and those are things. I mean, it's unfortunate. You'll never know. Would Macbeth have played better on Friday without the bag, or it seemed like I don't think he would have played. It's hard to play much better than he did on Saturday. I know he missed a couple putts. He missed a few drives and he missed a couple putts, but as we all know, the putting he can pick up any putter and put those in because he plays with new putters. So that's not it. Maybe he missed a drive or two, but look at all the drives he made with those discs. So I was more concerned about how he played Friday with the new bag. He seemed off on Friday a little. He wasn't the same Macbeth, and I don't know if it was the bag or something else. Or just
even if you are good with all of those backup discs, let's just play pretend and say you're super good. You're cycling those in and out all the time, and you're really good with those backup discs. It's still the being distraught and the stress of your bag. You've been violated, and your bag is gone.
And that's what I think was more Friday as opposed to Saturday. I mean, I'm not saying it didn't happen Saturday, but he seemed. And we can get into this later in under kind of more memorial wrap up, but he seems pretty comfortable on Saturday. So
I just know there's still a comfort level that he didn't have overall
for sure.
And I can't imagine what that's like. Sure, people like him and good players can do well with any disc. I've said that countless times on the show.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean you want to go out to halfway through a national tour and.
Really? That's a good test.
Yeah,
we should make all of our pros do that.
I'm not so sure about that. There's some discussion about Paul and his girlfriend caddying for him.
And that's what there's a big long thread. I guess not a big long thread, but there's a whole PDA kind of thing on I think it was hole 17 and 18. Well, and after that huge putty hit on 4, he was the camera flat out busted him. holding hands and kissing his girlfriend on the course, and it was there was people arguing like, is that professional and this and that, and you know what? The way I look at it, I would kiss Terry like that if I could shoot those scores.
Yeah, you would. All day.
If suddenly I'm shooting 17, 14, 13 down at Fountain, pucker up, Miller.
Yeah.
Pucker up.
Yeah.
So
you would.
All right, I think we've drilled the Open into the ground. We've kind of beat it like a dead horse. What about some of the other divisions, Dana?
Yeah, before I move on,
okay,
this I don't know how many chances I'll get to do this, so I just want to give the Beast, Paul Macbeth, a big hug. He gave it a valiant effort, with the bag situation, and then again losing in a playoff on hole 1 after a great final round. So big hug to Paul, and good luck breaking in your discs, and good luck. I think he's hanging out in Oklahoma for a little bit here, probably playing some local stuff, hanging around Texas. I don't know.
I was going to say Texas is the next big thing, I think, for him. So.
Okay. So, yeah, big hug to Paul. I don't know when I'll be able to give him one again. So, let's talk about the women's division. And Paige and Val just straight battled it out.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Just an incredible show they put on. Now, can anyone confirm this? Did Val have an unfortunate 2-meter rule during the final round?
Yes. The infamous hole 6, right, where, Feldberg had his issue. She threw it into the trees in front of her, and it didn't come down because she took a 6 on that hole. And I believe she took a 6, and I think Paige took a 3. That was a huge 3, or was it an 8?
Yeah.
No, I think 6.
No, I think it was
right.
6 because she threw it. I want to say she threw it into the tree. Then her approach got up and rolled out of bounds. She tossed up and dropped in for I believe it was a double circle 6 is what she had taken on that one, because we had tried to get out. Our goal was to get out early and film some of the women that round, and then the weather rolled in, and things got a little hectic for us, so we didn't get a chance to. But I was watching the scores the entire time, wondering, is it going to be worth it for us to run out there if there's an 8-stroke lead if one of them has? But then at one point, suddenly there was a 3 or 4-stroke lead. Maybe it was more than that.
No, I think it was 5 at one
5
point.
at one
I think
point.
Paige had Val by 5
going,
at one point. So, she was down 1 going into the day, and I think we were driving out to the course or checking the weather or something, and that's when Paige had her by 5, and we're like, whoa, what's going on? And thankfully the PDGA and Marty and the rest of the staff and crew over there were able to help with the live scoring. But as Johnny said, and this is something that was cleared up, somewhat cleared up on Facebook, it'll probably never be crystal clear, but yeah, our plan was to go out and try and bring them in probably from like 12 or 13 on, maybe even a little earlier. And then between the weather and our limited resources that we had, we simply couldn't make it happen. In fact, at one point, I was literally taping up our equipment in plastic bags because it was raining out, and we were anticipating, unfortunately, the worst.
And to add to that, they played quicker than we thought.
Yeah, I kind of gave them a hard time about that.
Yeah, because
later.
we got out there expecting them to be on only like halfway through the round, and by the time we kind of got everything settled and we were there, they were on hole 15.
Yeah.
And so then we get our stuff together, and then we finally catch up with them on 18. We're at that point. Val's down by 1, right, Dana?
It sounds right.
Yeah.
Can't confirm.
Oh, you can't confirm? Oh, yes. I believe Val was down by 1, and Val drove first. Val was on the box. She drove. She put it up there like she was 80 feet out. About that, 90 feet out. It's all on video. Go check out the video to see it's the very beginning of our memorial coverage for the final day. It starts out with the women, but as everyone knows, Paige was able to, I think, lay up on that last hole for an easy 3, and because Val had missed her putt, and at that point it was settled and sealed, and Paige took home the victory. Congratulations, Paige. Well earned.
And when I was talking to her later in the day, too, she's like, I don't know if I've won this 3 times or 4 times. And I'm thinking, wow, what a good problem to have. To not remember. Dana, do you remember how many times you've won the Memorial?
Yeah, that's an easy. I don't forget that one.
It means a lot to you, huh?
or you don't forget that lack of one. So, yeah, it was amazing battle. Paige actually put out on Facebook a really nice message talking about how It was a great battle with her and Val, and she expects plenty more battles between the two of them. Obviously, her, Val, and Kat kind of seem to be at a different level. The three of them are usually battling it out throughout any given weekend for the most part. And I'll expect to see more of those battles back and forth between or amongst the three of them as the year goes on. So and Val, such a gracious player, and Paige, a gracious winner, and just it seemed like, as they said, they were really having a lot of fun out there and just kind of taking it all in. So we were privileged and honored to bring you coverage of them playing on Thursday. Yeah. And we'll talk about some of the stats and details later regarding that, but we did enjoy playing with them, and we did want to get out there and cover them more. Like I said, they actually played faster. When they were walking off the course, I'm like, how did you guys do that? Like, we were expecting them to be many holes back, and it seemed like flow of play and everything else just seemed to be moving faster, and they got done way quicker than we anticipated, because what we really wanted to do is have them finish out their round, and even if they weren't done, we were going to focus on them with giving you a smattering of what was going on as the leader card was teeing off, with the focus really remaining on the women. But the women actually got done at noon or a few minutes after, and the men were scheduled to go off at 12:26, which got pushed back. So that's why we were able to, that's why it all went down that way. So for anyone that was curious, I know Sharon Jenkins, Val's mom, had posted on Facebook. She was a little sad that she couldn't see all of it, and we are too. But with this was our biggest show ever, and I feel that we were able to get around as much as we could. We were happy with that, and we hope that we'll be able to expand that in the future. So if you've got tens of thousands of dollars and can help us get more coverage, just send it our way. Yeah, if you got that laying around. So speaking of cash, though, Jeremy Colling took in a cool. Did you see that big check? That big old check? Yeah, $5K. Yeah. Not too bad. And Paige Pierce, did you see what her check was for?
Yeah, it was right around 17 or 1800.
Okay.
So they're getting disc golf rich.
Yeah, they are. And then no real shocker, would you say, over in the Masters division with some multiple world champ guy?
Nope. The champ, Ken Climo, and for the third straight year won the Masters division pretty handily. So congrats to the champ. Also, I actually caught there was a playoff in the Grandmaster division between the technician Joey Mela and Eric Rainey. Unfortunately, Joey threw his tee shot off hole 1 out of bounds. It did hit the wall, so he was looking at it for where I believe Eric was inbound safe and was able to pitch up for the par and the victory. So congratulations to Eric. And then in the senior Grandmaster division, Harvey Brandt and Stan Hubbard went 1-2. So
okay.
Good shooting to all the winners and everyone else. Hope everyone had as much fun as I did.
Yeah, it was a blast down here.
Yeah, Johnny V, I hope you had a great time.
I did, actually. It was a learning experience, and it was fun, and we'll get more into that later.
Dana, talk. I know we had him on the show. Can you talk a little bit on the amateur side of things, the advanced champion and beyond, or no?
I can comment on the advanced champion. It was Mike Conley, who is from Oswego, Illinois, not too far from me. He shot himself a pretty solid final round and took the victory. And beyond that, I can't quite comment on how the rest of the field finished out. I know that another local, Paul Ulibarri's protege, IMAC, Isaac McDonald, he struggled final round, but I think he just finished maybe right outside the top 10. But pretty good for a 14-year-old.
Yeah, that's all right.
There's a lot of really good young kids coming up. I mean, look at what they call him, AB, little
Anthony Barella,
who looks like as everyone says, he's a mini me for Paul Macbeth. I mean, down to from about 100 feet away, you'd be hard pressed to guess who's who. They dress the same. They kind of look the same with the black hair. Yeah. Their form is very similar.
Some of the mannerisms.
Yeah, the mannerisms. he's learning from the right person, but that kid's gonna be I wouldn't be surprised if he's a world champ in 5 or 6 years.
I think he can already throw a mini farther than I can throw a disc. Like he was just chucking discs and minis and whatever he could get his hands on during.
I've been to the Memorial a couple times, and usually after everything kind of settles up on Saturday, they all throw by that strip mall and just unload, and he's always there throwing and running and throwing. I mean, he's like 14 years old or something, or 15. So he's got all the energy in the world, and his little arm is like a little whip, and it's fun to watch. And I think, my God, I'm glad I'm sitting here.
And to address quickly, as you were talking about, there were a lot of people throwing. I didn't know of it until it was actually already happening. There was some kind of a distance, we'll say, exhibition of sorts. And we did not record it. We didn't broadcast it live. In fact, I didn't even record it because it was really tough to follow some of those discs at the time, and quite frankly, we were spent. But there was a bunch of people. I know Robbie Bratton was down there throwing, Anthony Barella. The
Stokely was down there.
Stokely was down there hanging out, and then finally, I think Dana, didn't you call him out? Didn't you give him a SmashBoxx call out or something? Isn't that what I heard?
Yeah, Stokely was down there watching people throw. I hadn't seen him throw yet, and I kind of, no one was throwing, and I said, "Hey, Stokely, can you even throw 400 anymore?"
A gentleman who set world records at 700 feet at one point, but yeah.
He can obviously still throw incredibly far. I just kind of poking some fun at him and trying to get him to throw some more shots, but I thought it was kind of funny.
So yeah, there was a lot of that going on. No, and again, we had shut down the live stream by that point. I was kind of walking around like a zombie at that point, so there was not any footage of that. It was a really tough venue. I mean, you could see big throws, but it was really tough to gauge where things were and how far people were really throwing. But it was cool to see such power by so many different people throwing in their various forms. So that was certainly cool to see. Ken Climo and a few others were doing some freestyling, so that gives everyone a chance to...
It's almost as much fun watching the end of that event afterwards. Just seeing, I mean, you see a dozen Hall of Famers out there just having fun, freestyling, doing whatever. So, Dana, yesterday, or was it Saturday night? No, it must have been yesterday. You asked me for a clip of the St. Jude interview that you did. What's the reason for that? What's going on with St. Jude right now?
Well, I asked you for the clip from the interview Terry and I did during the women's coverage, just so we could get that posted up and for people to see and hear. But actually, this afternoon, the long-awaited St. Jude invites went out. I did receive an invite. All 1,000 rated and above players did. On the women's side, I believe it was 900 and above. So we have a window of a week to sign up. So I may have been one of the first people to get on and sign up, but I got on, signed up, and I've already started fundraising.
What? You're getting a head start on us?
Well, I mean, it's not a head start. It's open season for everybody, or for all the 1,000 rated players. But actually, if you wanted to go sign up, Johnny, you actually could, and you could start not for the tournament, but to fundraise.
You can't play, Johnny.
You can give money, but you can't play. But Johnny's like a donation anyway, isn't he?
I'm kind of like donating usually anyway.
Yeah, but what I meant by that is if you're not 1,000 rated, or if you don't plan on attending the event, that doesn't mean you can't get in on the action. You can head over to stjudediscgolf.com, and there's a bunch of information over there. You can actually click on registration, event details, and go ahead and click register non-player. You can also volunteer. You can sponsor the event. There's all kinds of different, obviously, information about the event and about St. Jude and this pretty neat partnership that has formed here.
So Dana's gonna be fundraising. So whatever you go out and give Dana, I hope everyone goes out and donates to Dana. turn around and donate twice as much to us.
Because there's two of us.
Because there's two of us.
Or because I'm bigger.
Because there's two of us.
Okay, because there's two of us. Good answer. Yeah, there's two of us.
Have you guys signed up yet?
No, we just learned about it 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, I had no clue about it until just now. So, but now that we know, we're gonna get a Smashbox thing going on. We'll get our
Team Smashies and stuff.
Yeah,
we're gonna be. You can't use Smashies against me.
We're gonna be big hugging everyone, big guy. Sorry, big hugging everywhere. They're gonna almost have to restrain us from giving big hugs, if you know what I mean.
It wouldn't be the first time, probably,
or the last. So awesome to hear, Dana. I know we're less than 3 months away. Memorial Day weekend again out in Seaside, California, at a phenomenal, beautiful golf course resort that's going to have 36 unique holes. Is it a secret who designed those? I guess I kind of know, but I don't know if that's supposed to be a secret.
I think there's going to be that's going to be posted pretty quickly here.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not going to quite spill the beans. I didn't see it on the website, so there still is a little mystery involved in the event. But yeah,
a couple of solid designs. There's going to be 2 sets of 18 out there that people will be able to play. Play is going to take place on Saturday and Sunday. Is that correct? Yep. Everybody's going to be playing on Saturday and Sunday. I believe it's technically an A tier for everyone, or is it an A and then a B tier for AMs, or is it an A tier for everybody? I think it's an AM and a PDGA A tier for everyone, which is pretty cool.
PDGA A tier for everybody. So
very cool. Excited to hear the news, and then of course people can go out and like and find out more information on Facebook, like you said, and then it's St. Jude Disc Golf. Is that what it is?
stjudediscgolf.com is the website, and to donate, if you want to go donate right now, you click registration, event details, scroll down, and then
find Smashbox.
Under, no Smashbox. It says general public. Find a participant or start or join a team. So click on find a participant, and search Dana Vitch.
I like the sound of that, because you know what? Then we're all winners, and so is St. Jude.
When Dana beats Paul, we're all winners.
Oh yeah, that too. Any surprises that you saw at the Memorial, Dana, in terms of stats, figures, details, people, placements, anything jump out at you in particular? When thinking back and looking at all that action. Sheer number of players was amazing, and the field was probably more competitive than normal because there were so many players that were allowed in. But any big surprises out there that you saw?
Yeah, there was a couple. On the women's side, I was a little surprised to see that Owen Scoggins, she finished in 12th place out of 28 women. She did make the cut, but she did not cash. I expected her to do a little bit better, as she is known as, I think, the best women's putter out there and spin putter. It was so windy on Saturday when the women played, and then when some of the earlier cards played. I expected her to make a little bit more of a move, but again, it was crazy windy. Those peninsula holes were really, really hard. So I could see where you could rack up a couple big numbers there and knock yourself out of cash, which I tried to do. But and then
I think the most surprising number is like Coling saying he didn't go out of bounds at all.
Yeah, that's certainly what we're talking about.
That is in and of itself impressive. You see a lot of posts on the board saying, "Oh my God, this course is so easy," blah blah blah. There's no wind, and it's not a real tough course, but there's a lot of danger on a lot of those putts. So I can't imagine not going out of bounds at Vista or Fountain, playing Fountain twice.
Yeah, and as you speak of, out at Fountain, you have the potential, like I said, I have to sit and think about it, but at least on the front 9, you have the potential to go out of bounds, holes 1 through 9, on just about every drive. Let me think through them real quick. Yeah, literally every drive, and then almost every putt or approach could give you the potential to go out of bounds. Is that right, Dana? Yeah, every single hole on the front 9 and even obviously on hole 10 you can go out of bounds. 11 an errant shot can. 12 and 13 and 14 you can still find OB. It's a little bit tougher. Yeah. And then of course 18 you can. So there's potential to go out of bounds on almost every hole out there, and like I said, even on the putting green. So that is very impressive. And then Vista, to not find the OB, Fountain or Fiesta to not find an OB. Paul Macbeth, we saw 2 or 3 times, was just a few feet off. Yep. And that was his his first day with those discs. But he had a putt on what I believe was hole 12 that carried just a few feet deep, that put him onto a green, a ball golf green for OB. And then on the 17th hole, he threw a shot that was about 4 or 5 feet short from clearing a green, and it's blind on the tee, so you don't know necessarily, or you got to remember that it's there. And so it's really challenging out there to go 72 holes without a single OB. Was in fact probably the numerical stat of
that's the most. I mean, well, even having he won, that's probably one of the most impressive things out there.
Yeah,
73 holes.
73
holes. Oh, correction. Thank you. And as Mike says, where's our Zoltar guy?
He friended me on Facebook. I know who he is.
I bet.
Legend of Zoltar or whatever. Yeah. Matt, I believe it's. I'm not going to say. Actually, I think I'm not. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly certain I know who it is. So.
Or there's more than one of them. So yeah, that was a very impressive statistic. And maybe before we move on from that conversation, one that was started here in Wisconsin by a local club, Glide Disc Golf, who was graciously putting out all of our links throughout the weekend. There was a conversation there as to, was Big Germ's win more impressive, or was it simply Paul's finish and that he hung in there till the very end using a backup bag starting at the halfway point? Do you feel strongly one way or another there?
I don't see how you can't give the nod to Germ,
sure.
Especially after talking about that last stat, not going out of. I mean, it's really good. It's really good to not go out of bounds on those courses for one round, and then maybe a piece 2 together, and to do it four rounds, and then play. The playoff hole. It's really incredible, and whatever Germ was doing, if he keeps doing it, I have a feeling we might be seeing him at the top a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, he's won. This is second NT he's won in
since dating back to June.
Yeah, so that's been what, 4 NTs since then?
Yeah, or something like that.
So that's pretty good. 2 out of 4, 2 out of 5, whatever that may be. It's a pretty darn good ratio.
Yeah, and so there's no asterisk or anything like that next to the win, right?
No.
I mean, you can't say that. Nope. I mean, Paul, got to give it to Paul for battling and doing it with backups and new discs. But
I mean, had Paul won, I think that would be probably what everyone talked about. It'd be the most amazing thing that he won with backups. But I don't think you can take it away from Germ that Paul played with backups.
Sure, certainly
not at all. Not at all. And I mean, Germ beat a lot of he beat the best in the world too, other than Paul. Not just Paul. He went out and did it. So big ups to Germ.
Yep. And then I actually reached out to Macbeth today and just said, knowing we would talk tonight, I said, is there any updates regarding your bag? And basically he said no. He's heard nothing. I know. Who knows where it is or what's happened? There's all sorts of funny and not so funny speculation to it. Well, dare it be a malicious competitor or just an idiot? But
I think it's an idiot, and I'm a little. I'll say this: it takes a lot to offend me, and I think I'm kind of offended when the jokes are out there like, Germ, give the bag back, or Lazat, give it's unfortunate. I don't find it funny. I find a lot of stupid things funny, and I just don't find those funny. It's nobody wanted to see Paul's bag get taken, because just for an instance like this, now instead of the focus being on Germ, the focus is on Paul's bag. when when really Germ won the event, it should be mostly him. He beat Paul Macbeth, which in and of itself is amazing. Mm-hmm. And so I can't imagine it was a competitor. It would just I know a lot of scummy disc golfers,
Yeah, you do.
and I can't see hardly any of them ever doing that. Especially with Paul's bag, which everyone knows isn't that valuable.
Yeah,
other
I know.
Other than their Paul Macbeth's discs.
Yeah, and
that's
which is funny because Paul and I did have that conversation last December that the average valued of his of every disc in his bag comes out to like $14.81. They're the discs in themselves are not a value. They're a value to him because they're seasoned the way he likes. But other than that, he doesn't carry around expensive discs, so to speak.
No.
So
don't let him fool you. I went through his bag when we were in Memphis. There was a couple of good ones in there. None of the crazy $100 stuff. But
that's what we
a
mean.
Few good. There's a few oldies but goodies in there on top of mostly stock stuff.
Yeah.
But,
so speaking of attention. I would say definitely some of the spotlight and attention was grabbed by none other, and to no fault of his own, Nate Doss.
We're gonna stick with Dana. We're gonna keep him on the whole show.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Okay.
He's here.
Dana, do you want to be on the whole show?
Or you can leave.
yeah, I'll hang out for a little bit
Okay.
while longer. If you guys see me disappear,
You're catching mice. Is that what you're doing?
You got your face caught in a trap.
Yeah. Okay. So this kind of goes under our news and social media around the sport.
Oh, you have a list.
I do have a list. We have a show notes.
Oh, wow.
I know. Go figure. 20 episodes in, you find them. No. And the number one thing I was saying is that as big as the win for Germ was, his spotlight was almost completely stolen.
Yeah, and obviously unintentionally.
Unintentionally, by no means. Nobody's trying to do that.
Yeah.
But by Doss's ace getting on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
That's one of the bigger things that's happened in our sport in a couple years.
Yeah, if not the biggest. Obviously, we talk about the St. Jude relationship and how we think it can put a really positive spin and spotlight on disc golf. But Nate Doss, the ace, and after, we missed Will Schustrick literally by moments because he was on the second card at Fiesta Lakes. We missed his ace. Jordan Castro was 2 groups ahead of us, so we didn't grab his ace. And then
so I'm going to go through. We missed basically 3 aces. We were super close by for 3 aces.
Yeah.
I have what a lot of people don't see is I see 2 screens, one of which is live, what everyone's viewing, and the other is what's coming up. So what I'm going to push over live soon enough. For Jordan Castro, it was in the background. We could see it. Suddenly you see Jordan more or less cheering and running down down a hill. And so we missed the Jordan Castro ace. And so I'm like, oh, that's too bad. And then the next day, we're introing the show at Fiesta.
Yep.
And Terry's on one screen, and our backup camera is just sitting there waiting to kind of get instructions on what to do. So he's just got the camera sitting there, not recording. I'm looking in the other thing, and suddenly everybody explodes. I look over, and there's Will cheering. So our camera guy was watching it as everyone's listening to you. It just wasn't live. And we don't record that.
Yeah.
And it was before we kind of had gone live. So, and in his defense, in our camera guy's defense, Will did step right into the shot.
Yeah,
so
that's what he said.
Even had he gotten it on camera, it would have been, you wouldn't have been able to actually see it go in. You would have just seen the back of Will. But I kept thinking like, oh my God, we were so close to having another one. And then it wasn't over.
No.
So what happened on hole? You were doing what?
I was setting stuff up, but we were still over on 18. And in the area, getting things ready, getting stuff ready.
You were talking with Paige, weren't you?
Very well. I might have been talking with Paige.
Yeah, you were talking with Paige because
trying to give the women their love that they deserve. And we were talking with her, and we hear this eruption. And later on in the evening, before the awards started, Doss had said, somebody said, "Oh, where were you, Terry? Where was SmashBoxx? And all that."
Go ahead.
Doss said, he's like, "Nah, I was going off way too early for SmashBoxx to be near me."
So you want to know the funny thing? In my preview screen, Gary to the O sitting there at hole 1 waiting for instructions on where he needs to be. He was having some issues with his audio, so he was sitting there waiting for you to get done with the interview that you were giving with Paige, and he was on the shot. I saw Nate cheer the ace. You couldn't see it because Gary wasn't zoomed in, so I mean, hole 1 is 370 or
390
from where Gary was by the thing, almost 400 and some feet.
Yeah.
And so there's Nate like high-fiving people, and all I kept thinking is like, like we were so close to getting aces, and we just they just weren't live and whatnot. So it was kind of funny and how close we were. And again, Gary you wouldn't have been able to see the disc go in. The SportsCenter shot was a better view than what we had, which was pretty cool. So
thanks to Pam out of San Diego area, she had caught it on her cell phone. That was all her. Got it on her cell phone, and of course through some Media Marty and through Reddit and some other channels. There's a disc golfer that works with ESPN or at ESPN, and he had heard of it. So as soon as we could get the footage to them, they could get the footage to them. That's kind of how that all happens. So there's a lot of rumors, I guess, going around about how it happens and whatnot. There's basically an in at ESPN, and once he hears of things like this, he's a avid golfer. He's been looking for
this
he's been
for
looking for it.
Months.
It says, hey, submit this. He had said the same thing about Macbeth's Eagle. He had said the same thing about Will Schustrick's ace. And it's so funny, the internets. We were covering Fiesta on Thursday or Friday, whatever day that was. We were covering it, and my camera guy says to me, our main camera guy Joe says to me, he's like, I just checked Facebook. We were at a downtime. We just checked Facebook, and Schustrick's got 2 aces. I'm like, Schustrick is a couple hundred feet away from us. If he had 2 aces, we would know about it. We saw the first one kind of, but not the second. So,
were you around any aces this week, Dana? Anybody nearby? Did you hit any metal or anything on any drives?
No, but I did hear the screams across the pond for Nate's ace. I thought it was Nate actually brought this up. A few years back, I believe on the lead card, he started out his round going like triple circle eight. And I believe that was. Were you there? Was that
I was
live
there.
broadcast too?
No,
I believe it was that year.
Yeah, that might have been DGP doing that.
Yeah, our friends over at Disc Golf Planet.
Yep.
And Nate had opened. I think he was leading the tournament.
Yeah.
He was leading the tournament going in,
that's right.
and he opened the tournament with an 8 on that hole. So he very playfully said,
he's now
"Hey,
no
guy,
longer.
Formerly known as the guy that took an 8 on hole 1. I've aced, and now I'm on SportsCenter." So
yeah, that's been a pretty interesting hole for him.
I think for everyone,
bad,
but
a lot of people go OB and a lot of things, but not many people can say they led the tournament with an 8 and then they got an ace and they were on SportsCenter. That's a pretty. You think that's his favorite hole now?
I don't know. I will say this: it is certainly his most memorable hole.
Oh, for sure. For multiple reasons.
For both of those reasons.
Yeah.
So very cool. Yes, we wish we had more cameras. We've said it before. We could have 36 cameras out there, 2 on every hole. Something would still get missed or slip by. And the fact that we had 2 cameras, either on one hole or kind of roaming into additional holes, was actually a major new undertaking for us. And so we're happy with that. But we've already jokingly, we know, just like added cash to a tournament. As soon as you add 10,000 to a tournament, somebody says, "Well, why wasn't it 15,000?"
Yeah, exactly. You're right, because I can only see so many videos on my screen. The more cameras we get, the bigger my monitor's going to have to be. And even then, like you said, you're going to miss 1. You're going to miss 2. It's a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, until we're ESPN ourselves, that's not gonna happen.
Well, whatever.
Yeah. So very cool, very exciting stuff. So congratulations, of course, to Nate for such a to see disc golf on ESPN, to see it on the SportsCenter Top 10. It showed multiple times. There's 3 different at least 3 different times that it was showed with different announcers. There was some work up about people saying, oh, one of the the announcers led out of the clip saying, oh, I love me some Frolf, or whatever he said. You know what? At the end of the day, disc golf was shown on ESPN, and it was in a positive light.
Yep, it was.
Let's take what we can get.
That's right.
At that point. And in social media, we will touch on real quick.
I was gonna say we could give away the Mach X, but we can push that back a little ways.
Oh, there's
178 people watching, which is
I say we have a minimum requirement of
200
of at least 350 be watching.
No, that's not gonna happen. People will not. Are you counting like all the weeks that we're gonna be doing? So the other big thing in social media, and we'll give away the Mach X pretty quick, I promise. The other big thing in social media. Was the disc golfer that rescued a woman from a burning house. Dana, do you know much about that?
I I watched the video, the news. I caught just a little bit of the news clip. Why don't you fill us in?
I was going to say, because if you know, let me know, because I'm looking at the article right now. And it says here, like, the husband and father of 3 was there before fire trucks even arrived, and after fighting his way through smoke and flames, found the resident in a bedroom. Once I got her out, I noticed that there was another door, he said, so I needed to kick that door in to make sure, and it was a rough moment, but she's okay, and that's all that matters. So it really has nothing to do with disc golf per se.
Nope.
It's just a disc golfer, again, that's being shown in a positive light, that rescued a woman from a burning house. They apparently lost 2 cell phones, a jacket, and $1,300 in cash. Ooh, wow, that's a lot of cash on a house. Oh, there was a mortgage payment he planned on dropping off. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. But it's too often that when I see disc golfer in the news, it's for something not positive.
Yeah, so
so,
good. Really
so the
good to
past
see that.
week has been extremely refreshing for me personally, because we all know that it's not always, we're not always shown in the best light.
Yeah, there, and to clarify or take it another step further, as the board is telling us, or Smashies, that there is a GoFundMe page out there, so you can go find that.
Okay.
Out there as a GoFundMe page. So very cool. And while I think I have it as a, I have it as a
favorite.
Thanks for the word there. We got some work to do on Brett.
Brett needs
Hansen.
a new power chair.
Yeah, Brett Hansenbag needs a new power chair. We talked about it a month ago or more, and it's stalled considerably. So let's see if we can get that up and running again. He's at $6,900 out of $20,000.
Wow.
And
not him, but the guy who rescued someone, PDG number 2771.
Oh, very cool.
That's really low.
So again, get out there. Brett needs a new power chair on fundanything.com, and he's a huge advocate and just an amazing kid out in Minnesota, and that's a great effort as well. So please go out and Dana, didn't you say that one of your sponsors? I know we don't have all night for all of your sponsors, but one of your sponsors was helping with the Brett power chair endeavor.
Is that Prodigy?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. It was one of your teammates who somehow has struck out twice here on Smashbox, but one of your teammates. I was talking with him Sunday morning. I apologize. I thought it was you. He said that.
So he'll talk to you off camera?
Yeah. But Kale Laviska had mentioned that Prodigy is working and
he's
doing
he's a Prodigy team member.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Prodigy, I know, is working to have a fundraising effort for Brett and his power chair as well. So I thought that was very cool. And sorry, Dana, I was thinking that was your good story, but it was Kale's.
All right. I think it's time to cut our viewers in half. Dana, I got a question for you. What is the biggest number you took on a hole this weekend?
Ooh, this could get
5.
awkward.
A 5.
Wow.
Okay, that's not bad.
No.
We have a studio guest here in Colin Huff. Colin, what was the biggest number? He played advanced this weekend.
Normally intermediate.
Normally an intermediate player, so give him. We're not going to go too harsh on him. What's the biggest number you took this weekend?
Please say 3.
A 6. Okay. So I'm going to go with the number 6 because it's a little bit bigger.
Okay. Now remember,
Yep.
when you flip to the screen, you may lose audio.
No, I'm not. I fixed that.
Okay.
So
Well, now you fix it.
I fixed it. Yeah, I didn't notice it before. So what I'm going to do here, we're about to give away the Mach X.
Mach X. DGA, let's set
The
this up
DGA
first.
Mach X. So DGA was a fantastic sponsor for us this past week.
Mm-hmm.
They provided us with a Mach X to give away. Every day, we gave out a secret word. And it was Steady, because they just released the Steady Ed putter the first day. Then I believe it was Torrent, then Breaker, and then Squall.
Correct.
We had number of entries, 6,600. I'm sorry. Yeah, about 6,600 entries. And Danny's going to fall asleep over here.
How many were legit?
5,800.
Okay.
So there was 800. One guy entered in 300 times in a row.
So we took out his name.
I took out his name. I don't even know who it was.
You try and cheat us,
Yeah.
you lose out.
What people don't realize is that it's just a spreadsheet. I filtered out by the uniques. It's time dated and all that. Some people tried to enter in words that weren't for the right day. Some people just flat out spelt things wrong, so I eliminated them. If you can't spell, too bad. Some people tried to put other things in. I had 1 or 2 entries that just said Dana. One said Dynamite, so that's good. I eliminated them.
Got rid of those suckers.
That's right. So we had 6,600 entries, but 5,800 legitimate entries.
And you could only enter one time per day?
One time per day. So everyone had a 1 in 4 chance if you decided to view. So Chris Byer says he has a 3 in 6,600 chance. Not true. You probably have
Less
a 3 in 5,800 chance.
Yep.
58, what is it? 58-14.
58-14.
So what everyone's going to see now on the board. Do you have anything you want to say about DG? Or
yeah. So first of all, thank you to DGA, of course,
Of course.
the provider of the Mach X and the maker of the Mach X over that you saw at the Fountain Hills course. So thank you guys for that. Secondly, if you're international,
oh, yes.
there is going to be a cap. We're not sure the exact number. It's going to be right around like $500 total value of basket and shipping. It's going to be somewhere around that neighborhood. If you win and you're international, they'll have to work something out. There's probably going to be a slight surcharge, and I'm sure you can understand that. This is a 80-pound item that would get shipped overseas to you. So if you are an international, if you win and you're international, DGA will work that out with you and make it right.
But if you're in the continental U.S.,
it is shipped for free.
Ship for free.
Right from California straight to you. So look for that. I think those were all the criteria. Should we leave them cliffhanging? Maybe go to a word from another sponsor? Is that good or bad form? I mean, we had some amazing sponsors.
No, I'm not going to leave them hanging.
Gosh, I want to.
I know you want to, but we're not going to. We've promised them. So here, what everybody should be seeing on the board right now is the complete list. Everybody's numbered. Time date. I've hidden your email so nobody can see it. These are all 5,800 people. Right down to little blue lines here.
Double
to know
check
when
the exact number.
58-14.
58-14. So thank you guys for especially if you followed along correctly.
Correct. If you followed the instructions, you followed the rules, we appreciate it. If you followed us all week, we appreciate it, whether or not you entered or not. It really meant a lot. So I'm on a website called random.org. It's a very popular website.
Not a dating website.
Not for me. I don't know about Terry. And you'll see here the minimum and maximum between 1 and 58-14. And so because Colin took a 6 this week, we're going to hit the generate button 6 times.
Yep.
And the 6th one will be our winner.
And that will link back to how you were put into the spreadsheet.
Yep.
So the 6th number drawn, again, he's going to hit generate.
All right. Generate.
All right, here we go. Number
1. Not that guy.
Nope.
2.
Not that guy or girl.
3. 4. 5.
Now you're going to be. All those people are probably really ticked. Well, they don't know. They don't know that their number.
They don't know.
But this is, in fact,
so this will be the one right here. The winner.
This is it. Dana, any final words here on this?
I heard Shasta Chris was actually going to hand deliver the basket.
Wow, he should.
Nice.
He's an awesome gentleman, sponsored by DGA.
Yeah.
All right. For the Mach X.
Here
and everyone, thank you for participating. There's going to be another giveaway later on the show that's not nearly as good, but there will be another giveaway. So here you go, Johnny.
Here it is, number 5,323.
So you had to enter on the final day.
It was a final day entry, 5,323. 5,300.
You do not. Yeah, we should have said this. You do not need to be present to win.
No.
Although that would have been awesome. That we required.
We're almost there.
5,323. Let's see if we know.
Oh, there it is. It is Jason Vidot.
Jason Vidot. On the spot. You got it, buddy. Jason
Vidot. That sounds like someone who's not international. I wouldn't guess it, but Jason is pretty much a.
Let's do I'm going to do a Facebook search.
Should we find him on Facebook real quick?
Oh man, this is some riveting podcast right here.
It is. I know. This is exciting. This is a little.
Jason Vidot. Looks like.
Are you friends with him on Facebook?
I might. Let's go to who's the disc golf guy?
I don't.
All right, there we go, Terry. Jason.
Is Jason on the? Is
Vidot?
Jason here?
Oh snap! Jason Vidot, if it's the one that I think it is.
It is international.
And we are friends.
I'm sorry, DGA. I'm sorry, Jason.
Yeah, sorry, wow. Congratulations to Jason. Looks like I am friends with him here on Facebook.
Well, message him. Tell him you just
he's
won.
probably sleeping. It's in Australia. Actually, he might be up.
Might be
It's 10
awake.
in the morning.
It might be. Yeah, it's like
Hey,
10 in the morning.
Jason, log in,
Hey,
pal.
Jason, if he's looking to get rid of it, I got a nice basement. You know?
Yeah, I mean, work it out with Dana here. Oh, whoops. It's Inception going on there. Sorry, guys. I didn't change back over to us. You were seeing the board. So, yeah, I hope everyone. Yeah, so Terry's friends with him. I think you typed the wrong last name.
No.
No.
Right
He's an Aussie. Congratulations, Jason. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, it means a lot to us. I wonder if Jason. No one can see this. I'm gonna look and see if Jason had entered any other times. Jason
just done the dot.
No, he was.
Wow.
It was the one time he entered.
Wow.
One and done.
Yeah.
Some say.
Congratulations,
to Jason. Certainly reach out to us as soon as you can. You think Shasta will still hand deliver that?
He might. I know. Scott Kesey asked me. He's like, "Oh God, please don't pick an international." But you know what? Sorry, Scott. It couldn't have been more random than that.
That's how we roll.
That's how we roll. But
that is awesome. So congrats to Jason, and again, hopefully he reaches out to us.
I hope he's extremely remote. not because
grow the sport.
Exactly. I want this basket.
Grow
I want
the
this
sport.
basket in the middle of the desert where someone's driving by one day in Australia from Sydney to Perth, and they're like, "Is it? Did you seriously just see a basket there? Yeah. A kangaroo basket or something?" So. Yeah, so Jason Vidot, congratulations. Congratulations on probably having to pay for some international shipping.
Yeah, that might be a little costly.
Yeah, that's gonna.
Hey, it'll be cheaper than if he had to buy the basket and pay for the shipping.
That's true. So and if you're not interested in the basket for some reason, reach out to us. Maybe we can figure something else out.
So thank you to DGA for that.
But
and again,
thanks to DGA.
There will be another giveaway. I've got some sweet action here.
And
tonight.
DGA was not our only sponsor this past week. We had a plethora of sponsors help us out this entire week. And people, not just sponsors, but people that stepped up. Some of us, like myself, took vacation for a week. Gary O was on vacation, and we put him to work.
Yeah, instantly.
Gary O, I've got a list here. Dana's going to stretch here, but he's on this list. Gary O, Dana for doing whole previews and podcasts every night, taking time out of your day. AJ for helping out for the last couple holes when we really. AJ was the one behind the camera getting that, as I'm going to call it, that iconic shot of Coling hitting that putt on 18, which is phenomenal. Miles from Paragon, Andy Benton, Joe Height, who did the camera work, Brandon and Stu for doing a lot of the graphic stuff for us. All those lower thirds you saw were
Brandon
them.
Goldner and Stu Mullenberg. Thank you guys so much. You guys were amazing.
Sail On was a big sponsor. Plastic Addicts. The PDGA, of course. The DGA, who just gave us the basket. Spinners on the Green. Dukes. And my personal favorite this weekend goes out to
me.
You.
No.
Yeah, you did a lot of work. No, Terry, myself, of course, but Dynamic Disc was huge for us this week, and we could not have done a lot of what we did without them. The podcasts were sponsors of podcasts. They were sponsors of the battle that we did, which didn't
go perfectly.
Didn't go perfect, but we learned from it, and it gave everybody a great thing. Ledgestone. Obviously, Ledgestone was huge for the week.
Yeah, Ledgestone, how ironic. Ledgestone's hosting this amazing national tour event in August, but yet they still were actually helped contribute money for SmashBoxx to be live at the Memorial. And I know that sounds like a really weird dynamic, but that proves how awesome Nate Heinold and Ledgestone are. So touch on a few other people you didn't mention.
Oh, well, I had one more.
Go ahead.
One more. Discraft.
Absolutely. Discraft as well.
Who we literally couldn't have done it. They wouldn't have let us do it without them. They were very wonderful with us this week and letting us come out, do the filming and things like that. So I missed some people that Terry here has.
Yeah, no, you hit on most of them. You said Sail On, that includes Tony Boho.
Yep.
Keith Murray specifically from Spinners on the Green and an ex-Discraft employee in that he works at Spinners now. Dan Ginley, Scott Kesey of DGA, Bob Julio over at Discraft. Qua, and the rest of the Viridisc crew. So thank you to all of those individuals.
Yeah, forgot about them.
And then, like I said, you had mentioned Brandon, Stu, Dana, and a bunch of others. Whole previews, specifically, you had mentioned Dana, but also Steve Rico, Kelsey Wilmerding, Nate Doss, Valerie.
Can we call him Steve the Retriever, Rico?
Yes. Nate Doss, Valerie Jenkins, Paul Oman, Dana again, Gary to the O for his beautiful Hole 16 preview, and Kale Leviska, all in some capacity helped me with the whole previews. So, of course, thank you to all of those people. And then I was going off the top of my head for the guests that we had throughout the week. And from what I remember just off the top of my head without doing real research, I apologize. Jamie Thomas of Spin TV, Joe Height of Hellfish and our main cameraman, Qua of Viridisc, Jeremy Rusko, who chimed in and again with gave us some great insight during the podcast, along with the night prior we had Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, who's on the board, and Eric McCabe, the Disc Golf Answer Man. Simon Lazat, who was seemingly the fan favorite, no surprise.
Yeah, Simon was very brutal and honest on his podcast, and I think a lot of people enjoy that. It's refreshing that you don't get the same, I'm just going to go out and try to do my best, and this and that. Everyone liked Simon.
Dana, you mentioned Mike Conley earlier. Zoe Andike, who may have just cemented a permanent spot here on our show as some kind of a regular segment. Dana, of course, again. Steve Rico, Bomba Rico, Connor Wright. Man, Dana, I have you again. I got to quit listing your name, but yeah, a whole bunch of times. So, gosh, I would feel horrible now if we forgot someone, but thank you to everyone that contributed, both sponsors, contributors, a couple of people held a camera here or there for a few moments or listened to me rage on if something wasn't going perfectly right.
Yeah, I had some people help me out on the chat board, going through so fast. It's hard for me to keep up with it because I've got 6,000 other things I'm looking at. The chat board is kind of the last thing I check, but there were people having issues with like Chromecast and other people telling them refresh or do this or that, so that's great.
Yeah, and Jenny Cook, I think, is going to be more active in the future as well. I know she's always a huge supporter.
Jenny was out there.
And she'll be more active in the future when she's taking in all the action, so we appreciate that, Jenny. And then all of our supporters. And then we can't list every one of them, but during, like, halfway through the week, we decided to create, for the first time ever, a support button or a donate button, and we had a pretty good response. We really do appreciate. There was everything from literally I think a nickel all the way to much more sizable contributions, and we said it's just that it's a donation. No one should ever feel obligated to do so, but if they do, we really appreciate it. They came in from all over the board. To clarify, if you donate on our support mechanism, you can do that anytime for any amount or set up a recurring payment. If you give us money in the YouTube tip jar or the YouTube support section, that's a one-time thing. Like YouTube lets you just do that once, correct?
You can do it multiple times, but it's just one at a time. You'd have to go in and do it again and do it again and do it.
Oh.
It's not like Patreon where it just does it every week. It's a tip jar. It's like, oh, here's $1, and you can do it another one for here's $1. So Nick Lelm puts out there the cheapest shipping he found from California to Australia is $867. So I have a feeling maybe we might. I mean,
get 800 and I'm guessing DGA, again gets to that 500 total retail value.
Yeah.
So that would only cost him then about $817 to get on his own to get that basket. So
Dana checked out on us. That's okay. Looks like he's falling.
Thankfully.
Yeah, no, he looked like he was falling asleep, and he had probably to go check on some mouse traps. Like him and Ashley playing a big board game where something was falling down.
And another one of our awesome sponsors has chimed in. Thank you, first of all, Dana. And again, another one of our awesome sponsors has chimed in. I was going to get to him in a minute, but Johnny Harrison over at Plastic Addicts was pretty awesome as well. So thank you so much to Johnny. Who was giving away free product if you bought from him during the week. And I know, if you were watching during the podcast or if you were taking in the live broadcast, the battle, I know Dynamic Disc was running a special on all their Dymax stuff, which was those are some of my favorite commercials. So let's cut over to one of our amazing supporters and sponsors in Dynamic Disc. We're going to be stand down for just a moment. I need something to drink anyway.
Okay.
And we're going to be back with you in just a few moments after you take a listen and a watch from a word from one of our podcast sponsors this week in Dynamic Disc.
sorry if that came in a little louder than everything else. I just noticed I pulled in the video from another source, and I forgot to turn down the audio on it. So it might sound fine.
Turn down for what?
Turn down for what?
Anyway, so yes, thank you guys. Thank you again to Dynamic Disc, big supporter of us this week, and hopefully we're going to be working with them more in the future, and as we can spread around the live broadcasting love to various tournaments. If we haven't made it crystal clear already, anytime, and whether it's us or Disc Golf Planet or anyone, the number one component to broadcasting live with our means and all of our capabilities at this point is, in fact, cellular signal.
Yep.
And we rely on that. That's how we get the
signal
that
out
pretty
there.
picture up to the internet webbers,
Yep.
and how you then work some magic and then put it out there for people to see. So cellular signal. So we've had a few events reach out to us, and if you are in the middle of nowhere and you don't have solid signal from AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile or a combination,
preferably 2 out of 3 what we're really looking for, but
that's exactly what we need.
That ad was actually kind of little ahead of its time. One of the things it asked about growing the sport was get on ESPN.
Yeah,
wow. That was a little thing. And then sure enough, right after we play that video,
it's on.
It's clearly us. They got the Smashbox bump.
Yeah, duh.
Somehow Nate got that or something.
Yeah, very good work by Cool Daddy Slick Breeze and all of again the DD crew and Latitude, and we do appreciate all of your help over there with everything that is going on. Gabriel Radford.
That a lot of people probably aren't seeing that chat.
No, yeah, that looks like it was deleted.
It was blocked.
Sorry you didn't.
Sorry, Gabriel, you got blocked there. Anyway, I know normally we do have a guest on and we do an interview, but we kind of wanted to wrap up the memorial, and we're almost done here.
Yeah.
I just have a couple things that we've seen or things that went well for us or wrong. If you have any questions about the broadcast, go ahead and throw them up there. A couple things that I had noticed. I made a little list here, a little sheet out of my kids' construction paper. In the past 8 days, our memorial coverage has gotten to 109 different countries have viewed at least a couple seconds of it for whatever reason. I looked.
Okay.
And
109 countries.
Yeah, and I think there was like 150. It said 150, but I saw a lot of them had like 0 time. And we don't count those. I don't know what those are. Just shy, like literally hundreds or thousands of under 4 million minutes of
We'll
memorial.
just call it 4 million.
About 4 million minutes of footage watched.
4 million minutes
of footage watched.
Footage watched from this last week.
Yep. 145,000 views on our videos, starting from the battle on. 145,000 views.
Okay, and there was the battle, and then there was the slightly edited battle, so that we could trim it up for you guys.
Yeah, because we had some issues with the actual battle with the again, my fault on the computer side. There was some issues with some locking up and things like that, but I got it worked out. One of the big complaints we had, and I don't understand it, and I know some people do, was our second round coverage. That we decided to cover the women. Yeah. So many people, or maybe it's just a vocal minority. I won't say so many people. I bet you a vocal minority, it's just who you hear, had, this mentality of, why are you covering the women? I don't want to watch 920 rated golf.
Which, first of all, none of them shoot, but yeah.
Well, I think there was 2 of them that did shoot about that. But Val and Paige, shot way better than that. And what a couple of good things were brought up. One, that's the type of golf that a majority of people watching probably play.
Correct.
It's fun to watch the best in the world, and you got to watch that, and you get to watch it after the fact. You've got some great people out there editing video after the fact that you can watch 100 times. These women, I don't think they had any coverage like that, any after-the-fact coverage. I did not see one round of
featuring or highlighting
professionally edited video from them. So for us to give them a little bit of time, we have a greater goal. I mean, our goal is to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
and
what's goal 2? Because that's not working.
Yeah. So goal 2 is to expand the sport.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. And I have no qualms about showing the women. On average, I looked at all our stats. We have about 6 to 6.5% women watch our videos, whether that's the podcasts or the footage. the second round with the women got a few less views. It got a couple thousand less views than the other rounds, understandably, but it had a higher percentage of women. It jumped up to almost 8.5% female viewers, which some people say, oh gosh, that's not a lot. But when you scale down the number and lift up the percentage, that's a lot more women watching that. So this was I'm not even gonna say it was a good gesture. It was just something we wanted to do.
Yeah,
there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that we're not a multi-million-dollar operation and backed with
or even
millions,
a multi-$1,000 operation,
and backed with lots of money.
Because we would cover the women every day.
Yeah, we absolutely would. It's, as I explained to some people on the Disc Golf for Women group that I'm in. We had to do the best we could with the resources we have and are provided. And yes, there is a majority of people that do like watching the men better, we'll say. But the women are amazing in so many ways. And like Zoe had said on the show, the women throw more golf shots. And by that, meaning they're shaping and molding their shots.
There's a perfect example
so much
of that
more.
On... I want to say, is it hole 13, the gunite hole?
Yeah, that's 12.
At 12 at Vista. All of them pitched out to the right.
Yep. No, Paige went for it.
And didn't make it.
So even though she can.
She can. You're right. So Paige went for it and didn't make it, and she went for it a couple times and didn't make it, actually. Yep. But a lot of our golfers can't make that shot from that pad. And if they want to go out and play the pro pads, they are going to pitch out to the right. And that's a perfect example of playing smart golf. Pitch out to the right, throw it up in the fairway, hope to have a long putt at it. At worst, you take a 4. You know, if you take that method. When you watch the men play, they're all throwing either mid-ranges or drivers and spiking it down there. So it shows a lot more true golf, different shots like that.
Yeah, and exactly. So call it a criticism, call it feedback, whatever you want to call it. We were happy to do so. We wish we would have had more during the fourth round, of course. You know, we wish we could have, and just between the rain and everything else, the way that it happened. But I've said this too. Anyone that knows the efforts I've tried to put in over the last 20 years of promoting golf, I've been, I would say, more than fair and hopefully more than helpful to women. I've helped with a lot of women's initiatives in terms of disc golf, and in no way would it ever be considered a slight or anything else if we cannot give them the full coverage that we have shown the men. It's just sometimes it's just not possible. And again, at the end of the day, that comes all down to finances. That comes down to the practicality of being there and doing things. And we're going to get as creative as we can, and we want to bring you as much as we can.
And I'll say this: we might have gotten more female viewers if it weren't for us being able to announce a little sooner that we were going to follow the women. Even we're on kind of a schedule of what everyone likes to ask. Hey, when's the next round start tomorrow? You can almost always for sure count on it starting about 20 minutes to a half hour before the lead card. And we can't give that info until we know what the times are. And we're not any more privileged to it than anybody else. We're waiting on the tournament in the PDGA. So had we been able to actually maybe get a little bit beforehand to find out when that was, we might have been able to bump up those numbers. Someone said it was a 30% increase. I'm not a math man. So 6.5 to 8.3. I'm sorry, 8.5. I don't know if that's 30% or not.
It looks like about 20.
So somewhere. So that's great, though. I mean, we'd love to follow more women's cards. So any complaint that you may have about that is going to fall on deaf ears.
Yeah, for the most part.
At least one.
Yeah. What's that? No. And plus the women are so much more better looking than all of our men.
Yeah, let's not be creepy. I had to block a couple people.
Well, of course there's creepies. I'm just saying.
Exactly. And that's one of the other things you run into is, most people were very respectful, but as always, it's the internet. So you get some people who aren't.
If we're and this goes for men or women, and it's commonly, like you said, it's way more frequent with the women. If you're on there watching, don't be a weirdo or like a creeper and say like completely. If they're not,
you don't know who's the way I look at it is you don't know whose mom is watching.
Exactly, and we have a lot of parents watching. And there was a gentleman last year. We were covering the women in
Yep.
at the Rumble, covering it live in the Quad
Yep.
Cities, and somebody got on there and decided to get all nasty and talk like they shouldn't have.
Yep.
And within seconds, Katrina Allen's mom got on there and said,
Yeah.
"Hey, Katrina's mom's here watching," and
Yeah,
that
'cause
shut
they-
them up quickly.
Yeah,
but
they were actually, I think that was at Maple Hill.
they could no, I think it was,
Or
at the
was it
Rumble,
the Rumble?
at one
Anyway,
point.
But yeah, there was someone talking about Katrina in a way they shouldn't have, and I wasn't able to catch it and block it, but a lot of people got on their case, and then Katrina's mom stepped in like, "Hey, by the way, that's my daughter," and they apologized, and I don't
As
think
they should.
and they didn't.
So
chat
if it's
anymore.
not something
So,
you would say to their face, and maybe even then don't say, because you might be crude. If it's not something you're saying to their face, then don't say it at all.
Yeah.
Seti has a question here, just a point of, I guess we'll say clarification.
devil's advocate, yeah.
Yeah, saying, to be fair, the females are 10% of the memorial. Should we give them 10% of the coverage? That's a valid argument for some. It may or may not be how we align ourselves.
And I don't know how I'd give him 10% of the coverage.
Oh,
We gave him 25% of the coverage.
Correct.
So, but
That's you could argue all day long
Sure.
as to what's fair, what's best for
Yep.
the women, what's best for the sport. Some would say, well, if we're trying to grow the women, why aren't we covering them 75% of the time to try and encourage more women to
Yeah.
play? I mean, you could really argue this
There's all
8
sorts
different
of-
ways, but point is, we're going to continue our best efforts to try and get it out there as much as we possibly
Yeah.
can.
And we got some really good feedback from people who's like, "Hey, my daughter watched because of that. My 8-year-old daughter got to watch so and so." Or, hey, I got my girlfriend to watch, and maybe, she sees that and she wants to go out and play now. I got a couple of responses, not a lot, but a few like that. So, yeah, so that was kind of that. That was the real big thing. Why don't we have more coverage? Why don't we have this and that? It's all money related. So,
yeah. So realize that if the rounds go too much longer, then we're stressing the equipment, we're stressing ourselves.
Yep.
And there's a lot of other factors that go into it. And I've said this countless times, especially in my first few days of volunteering over at Disc Golf Planet. It takes an unbelievable effort to take someone throwing a frisbee. If I'm downplaying this, if somebody throwing a disc and putting that onto your screen.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to give us a pat on the back, but it takes
we deserve it.
a much bigger effort than I would think most people realize, and not just financially, but brains and operation and equipment wise. It's not easy, and if it was easy,
More people would be doing it.
you'd see a lot more companies out there doing
Yeah.
it other than the 2 that are. And people, I think, downplay it. They think, oh, well, why don't you just do that? And why don't you just do this? And it's so easy. Well, yeah, we have hiccups. We have growing pains. Was our audio perfect every time? Was our signal perfect every time?
That was a big issue. Was round 1. I think a lot of people we had an issue with the wireless mic that you had gotten. It was getting a lot of feedback. It kept staticking on it, and eventually we moved to a wired mic, which is why the audio was so much better, especially in the rain and stuff. We just killed the wireless mic because it just wasn't working out for us. So you do see that in that very first round. I think once or twice in the 3rd round it happened, but we ended up going to a wired mic, and that was our best solution. We'd like to go to wireless because it's easier for you.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and this week wouldn't have happened without Joe Height, who came in and worked our main camera. Joe, we've never shot disc golf together.
Nope.
He obviously does a phenomenal job shooting it, but
Yep.
this was his first time kind of interworking with the team's usually been you and I, but so
team.
adding Joe
Yeah.
to the team, so to speak. And then we had another cameraman that we were kind of training and working with for the few days leading into the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And then he got the
Andy.
same illness that I did.
Yeah, he was our very first day of shooting. He was there getting sick.
Yeah, and so the
That's
very
awesome.
first day he's out, and we substituted in another gentleman who's supposed to be there really just vacationing, who's never really touched a camera before, and we gave him our quick instruction and had him operating a camera. So we had our challenges. We hope to not have as many in the future, but that's the only way we're going to improve. And we felt really bad about how the battle originally went off on Monday. We talked about it, and we talked about it in the podcast, but we were really pleased with how maybe we should screw up the first day all the time so we can recover big. How's that?
I was jokingly thinking to myself earlier in the week, like I think it was on Friday or Saturday when things started, we had our groove, we were going, and I'm like, Wow, we set the bar low on Monday. Like it wasn't hard to jump over that bar, that's for sure.
Yeah,
that's why we do backup recordings, and that's why we were able to get out those holes in an edited version. We don't do edited disc golf. Like that's the other big question we get. How come you guys don't put out a 35-minute video of this? When who wants to watch 3.5 hours of golf? And as I say, I'm like,
thousands of people want to watch it live.
Thousands of people watched it live. We give you, we're not editors. We're not video editors. We give you a live experience that you can share with thousands of people around the world at any given time. And for us, we broadcast, 5, 6. Well, if you count the podcast, it was like 8 hours of broadcasting a day.
Yeah, plus prep time, breakdown, and other stuff.
And as everyone says, it takes about an hour to edit an hour of footage. To trim down an hour of video takes about an hour. To cut out all the shots and things like that. That's kind of a general rule.
Oh, I would say it's way more than that, but yeah.
It depends what you're doing and this and that. So for us to put in another 4 to 5 hours a night when other people are out there doing it and just spitting it out probably a little bit better than we can do, like Jamie Thomas.
Yeah.
Let them. I mean, they're going to get a lot of views after the fact, but some of them don't have commentary.
It's funny because
I don't care.
I was thinking of an analogy.
That's not our job.
Just today with us, the same reason.
And we're not looking. I hate to. I hate to kind of bounce on this, but we're not looking for a pat on the back. We're trying to explain exactly what our hurdles are, what we did well, and what we did poorly. This is kind of our own live wrap up show, things like that. So,
and what I was gonna say is, speaking to the live versus wrap up footage and people talking about who wants to sit and watch a 3-hour or 4-hour disc golf round after the fact, you might not want to, but I'm going to ask you the same question. Did you watch the Super Bowl in a 35-minute wrap-up on Monday?
Yeah.
No. You sat down,
and you
watched that 3 or 4 or 5-hour production, and you watched it live with all of your buddies.
Yeah.
And that is one way that we are presenting it to you. In fact, there's no such thing as a 30-minute highlight reel of just the 15 or 20 or 30 minutes.
Cool Daddy Slickly says typically you can expect 1 to 2 hours of work per 1 minute of video. Cool Daddy, I think that's when you're good. When you're like when I edited the battle, and I have no edit. I've never edited a video before a round of golf. I was just trimming, clipping, and adding. I'm not good, and I wanted to make sure that it was out there. I wanted to make sure that the sponsors that we promised something to got what they felt was a legitimate result,
value.
Legitimate value. So that was our goal. So Cool Daddy, clearly you're a better editor than I, and it shows in all your videos. So that's right now, editing, I don't like it.
Either do I. Right now, SmashBoxxTV is focused on our live broadcast. We're bringing it to you here. We're bringing it to you now. You can watch all those other videos you want. They all do really good job. There's 8 different people that were covering the leader card, but no one else was bringing it to you as it was happening live. And that's what our focus is. And is the picture quality as good? No. Is the sound and all the details as good? No. That's not the reality right now. The reality is we're bringing it to you live in the best possible way that we can.
And you know what? Some people do maybe want to go out and relive the whole live experience.
Sure.
And have Terry's. And I think that's one of our strengths is your commentary out there, and that you're good with the players. So a couple things. I'm going to look at 1 or 2 negative things now. There was complaints, and we addressed them on one of the podcasts of you being too chummy with the players and going up to them. What can you explain to me what exactly happened? And I don't even know if you remember it. On hole 18, after Germ and Macbeth hit their putt, they're going up there for a playoff, and they're sitting at the scorer's bench. And that was one of the complaints is that you went up there and asked, "Do you have time for an interview? Or can you give me can you say something?" Oh. And basically, it looked like they flat out ignored you and walked away because they were in the playoff. What can you run through how that happened for people?
Yeah, basically, it hasn't been that uncommon or crazy to talk to someone, even if they're even if a playoff is pending. It's still not crazy to have either a quick conversation or some conversation. We've seen it before. So I didn't clearly I'm not out to break their concentration by any means or their moment, but that was normal. That's natural. I talk to these players after a round all the time. And knowing that there's excitement, they're clearly excited. There's anticipation before they go to a playoff. To have a conversation with them, I didn't think was out of the ordinary. They implied or inferred or said they didn't want you or whatever, but that wasn't totally out of the ordinary. I guess I can understand how some people might think that's crazy, but every situation's a little different.
Correct. And the way I looked at it is it looked a little just for a split second a little odd when you went up there because I could see it live. And with big events like this, my thought was you never know how much time is going to be between the final round and the playoff.
And that was exactly it.
And if there's a 15-minute break there, or a 10-minute break, like they're trying to figure out other scores. What if, Barsby shot the next round. If he had shot, I think it was 4 strokes better, which is possible out there,
Yep.
he would have been in the playoff as well.
Exactly. And if they have to round up people,
Yep.
if they had to go round somebody
there's
up,
plenty of time.
or if somebody forgets to add their scorecard and write their scorecard on there, that could prolong things when everyone thinks the tournament's over and it's really not.
Yeah.
Just saying that's happened. So it certainly wasn't intentional and malicious to even think to talk to them, but at the same time, if there's one gentleman on the tour in our professional ranks that's incredibly friendly and willing and able to talk a lot, it's Paul McBeth.
He likes it, and Paul
Paul's
likes
a
it.
social.
He's a social guy, and he likes you, and he's a very friendly, and he knows. And I'll say this about these players: a lot of these players, I hate to put it this way, but a lot of them know where their bread is buttered. They know they want exposure, and they know we can give them exposure.
Yeah,
and so they want to be friendly with us, and they want to chat and be chummy, and that might not have been the most perfect second just because of the timing, but other than that, a lot of times that's going to fly just fine.
Yeah, and so that was part of that. When we didn't have that conversation, I certainly wasn't offended. I hope none of them were offended. I don't think either of them were offended at that point. Sean Hutchkins or Huckins, you do bring up a good point. This was actually addressed to me by someone else. Someone was had said to me that the one time it may have been inappropriate for me to talk as openly as I did is when they were really walking
between holes. What I saw was you mentioning something like I think it was right after Paul had missed. I think Paul and Jeremy both missed 16, and you had said something just as Paul was walking behind you. You can see it in the video.
Oh, sure.
And it wasn't anything offensive. It was just more stating
calling the shots
and stating the facts that like, oh hey, you can't believe Paul missed that. It's not like him. And as he's walking right behind you,
sure.
Those are things that I think those things happen on other sports. You don't see them because a lot of sports you don't see between the lines. You don't see
Correct.
things like that, and we can't be sequestered.
Yeah.
One of the things that we give you is we give you coverage right from the field. We're not sitting in front of a monitor watching things, and because we can get a better idea for distance and for the feeling, the emotion that's out there, as you know. So.
Yeah, and I'll be the first to admit if any player, and I think they know me well enough as well, if any player were to be annoyed or frustrated or distraught or in any way have a negative impact by what I'm doing, they all know me and they can tell me to shut up. They can tell me to move aside. Not that I want them to, but I'm saying that we're all at that level where they can say, hey, can you back away or whatever. None of them have said that to me, and frequently before we do live shows, and this is before we're even on camera, I actually will say to all of the players that are competing, hey guys, we're going to have cameras out there. I'm going to be doing commentary. If there's anything that you think may remotely distract you, tell me to move. Tell us to move, tell me to shut up, whatever it might be. So we all know that the number one focus here is the play. We want the competitive play to come out. We want these players to shoot their best. We want them to perform their best. And if that means we need to stand down, to everything, that means we get a bad camera angle or I don't talk for 5 minutes, that's fine, because the play is the number one product and the number one concern at these events. So I understand if people want to come at me and think that maybe...
Come at me, bro.
Yeah, no. If people want to come at me, I feel like a really good relationship with all these players. If there's something wrong, I feel like they would also tell me that. So
Sure.
I'm not trying to sound like, I'm all just chummy, but
what
I do have a good relationship with these guys, and I think every one of them would be comfortable enough to say, hey, I need you to shut up, or I need you to move, or I need you to not do this or that. Because they know I want them to play their best as well. So keep that in mind.
We want the best golf that's out there. We don't want to be the story. We want them to be the story.
Yeah.
So, anyone have any other questions about the broadcast, about any issues or things like that? Otherwise, we're running long tonight.
Soon we'll have another giveaway.
Yeah,
Stay
we're gonna have another soon.
Once that gets back up to 250 viewers.
So actually, Do we have? Has everyone seen those? Did I bring?
Yeah. Could you? Our live studio audience of one, if you could grab
I think I brought
a couple of items.
Oh yeah, right there on my bag.
We want to.
So we have one of the things we get asked a lot is, it was how can we support you? And we told you, smashbox.com/support.
SmashBoxxTV.
SmashBoxxTV.
Don't go give
/support.
SmashBox.com money.
Yeah. The other thing, if you want, is we have some shirts.
This is our first run, and I'll say that
this was last year's.
This is last year's. Oh yeah, there we go. Last year's first run shirt, just a gray dry fit. Thanks, obviously, to Miles over at Paragon. Oh, he put a sticker in there. Go figure. No, but Miles from Paragon. This is our first run shirt, just the flat gray, along with our SmashBox cube in the middle. So we do have a few of those available. Those are from last year. We didn't promote those nearly as well as we should have, but those are available. Again, dry fits. We can get those sent out to you. And then secondly,
this year's edition, as we're going to call it.
This year, as of right now, and there's going to be more stuff that comes out throughout the year, but this was the latest. And, I don't go out to Target or Walmart to pick one of these up. You can pick up As Seen on TV.
As Seen on SmashBoxxTV.
That's right. As Seen on SmashBoxxTV. Right here. We got a sweet Paragon logo on the back. Thank you to Miles for helping us out with this.
Miles.
He did produce these.
Miles is sick of us promoting him. He's getting too much business, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. But thank you so much to Miles. And so if you're interested in getting an As Seen on SmashBoxx.TV shirt, you can either hit me up directly or you can go to ParagonDiscGolf.com. And you could order one from him there.
Good. 2 questions. Zach White asks, Terry, how confident are you when calling distance for putts?
That's a great question, Zach.
Because that is one. If there's 2 things on this board that blow up,
it's when
it's no. Oh. It's one, and I'm sick of seeing it, and everybody I think is, other than about 3 people, calling foot faults on the video. A lot of people do it. Everyone's like, oh my god, he foot faulted. And it's it's so hard to tell from this angle.
Let me be the first to tell you, because I'm in the field, and this is why I love being in the field and right in these players' back pockets. If there's a foot fault and I see it, and whether it's called or not, you'll probably hear me talk about it.
Sure.
So
you've got no skin in the game. So.
Yeah, I really don't. So and I like all these guys. But if I see what I feel like is a blatant foot fault, or I notice it, I guess I do. Obviously, I have to see it and notice it. And I'm not paying a ton of attention to their feet. But if I ever see a rule infraction, I will probably make a remark about it. Either how it was there and it wasn't called, or how it was called and it was questionable, or whatever the case may be.
There was a player, and I think someone else had mentioned that, maybe we'll bring it up later, that I want to say they marked their lie with a disc.
See, and that's funny because I
think I saw.
I think you thought you saw that.
It looked
but
like
they actually, I think, put down a mini, and then it was really close because I thought it at first in person.
Oh, did they put their disc on top of their mini?
Yeah,
or something?
They had
so
their mini. They laid down with the disc immediately on it. I think I even remember vaguely the situation, thinking the same thing.
Yeah, like, oh, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and that I believe I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
But again, if there's a rule infraction out there, that's why I love being right there and in the scene, so I can tell you kind of what's going around the players and next to the players and what the caddies are saying and doing. That's a huge advantage to being on site. I'll tell you about it. I will tell you all day long that, he looks like he may have stepped on his mini, but no one called it. I would say something like that.
So back to the original question, how confident are you on calling distance of putts?
I would say I'm really good. And
I think you are too. I'm personally bad with distances unless that 33 foot.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm only good because of that 33 meters or the 32.8 circle, or the 10 meter circle. When that's painted on the ground, that is obviously always my reference point. So if somebody's foot is touching that circle, I know it's exactly 32 feet and 8 inches. When they're, obviously 2 feet in from that, that's when I tell you 30 feet. 22 to 25 is maybe a little harder to judge.
Yeah.
But again, I'm looking at that 33 foot circle, and then I'm usually subtracting from there. So when I tell you the distance of a putt, I'm not trying to be all technical and a know-it-all. I can just see. It's really that easy. So, and I believe there were 2 courses, if not 3. that had the circles. I don't remember if Fiesta did. I may have been estimating myself there.
No, Colin's saying Fiesta did not.
Okay, no, live from the studio audience. So, yeah, 3 out of the 4 rounds, I could see the distances from the basket myself. Hence, I feel pretty comfortable. And then even on a long putt, you know, there was a couple times I'm looking at the circle, and I literally in my head was like trying to double it and look at it and like make best putt on 4 during Fountain. I saw where the circle was.
And that's hard because it's up a hill, and
exactly.
you have to make adjustments in your head.
Yeah, and like math and the Pythagorean theorem. And,
I know, you're squaring things and dividing.
And from there, that's how I came up with those numbers. Now, could a putt be 72 feet? And I said 68. Absolutely.
Sure.
Could a putt be 28 feet? And I said 29 or maybe 30. It could be. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty far trusting you within the circle. When you get to be about, I figure anything outside of, if you say 65 and out, I say, give or take 5 feet.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at that point, it's all guessing. Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, Bobby Brown, wants to know what's the biggest lesson we learned from, as far as live production.
Wow,
I think communication. We struggled with that, not so much on the battle, but on the first day even, directing traffic and shots.
Yeah, and that was mainly because we doubled our cameras.
Yeah, because normally it's just Terry and I talking to each other,
so
which we do a lot. But now we added in a whole nother person. And so what we used to do is use an app called Voxer, which is like a walkie-talkie app. And you communicate and you'd get that, and it would usually be fine because I trust you know where to go, and you're going to give me, and I'm looking at your shot, and I really only have one shot to play with. Once we add that second one in, we had to go to a conference call. So we were literally on a conference call. I had earbuds, my little ones, underneath of these, so I can hear you, I can hear the shot, and I can read.
So you got me in like multiple mediums.
Yeah, but
you're welcome.
But that's why I'm constantly yelling, Terry, mute your phone. I don't want to, because the other thing is we're on about a 15-second delay, and we buffer it so that we get a better footage and we get less blips and things like that. So when I would hear you say, "Oh, nice putt," I'm watching. I'm like, "Oh, he's gonna make this one." "Oh, nice putt, Nico," or whatever. Yeah. So I think communication was the big thing that we learned this particular one, and I personally learned a lesson from the battle that you can't use an Amazon server to do what I wanted to do.
Fair enough. Yeah.
The thought process was I'm going to use their server because they've got super high powered servers and a super high amount of bandwidth, so everything will be great. And because I was remoted into the server, that's when we started running into all these glitches, and it just everything cascaded. So yeah, so I think communication is the big thing for us.
Yeah, glitches be cray.
Glitches be cray.
So yeah, I would go along with communication, and again, we doubled a lot of our expenses, but we also doubled having that second camera. And having someone know that the shot could be on them or the shot could be on us, and then with Johnny V here being back 1,000, 2,000 miles away, there's just a flat out delay. So there's a lot of challenges that take place. Again, it's a bigger effort than most realize. So
yeah, Brandon G about switching. He says you guys moved from the shot of side being the basket was flawless, a perfect shot of the biggest putt of the tournament. Yes. And that was dumb luck. I'll say that. Like, I originally had Coling lined up on the side.
Yeah, which was Joe Height's angle.
Which was Joe Height's angle, because Joe is our number one cameraman. So he's usually the shot I will take. And AJ was who had taken the camera just 3 holes prior, was getting into position. And when I looked over and saw AJ's position, I thought, well, that shot looks cooler.
Yeah.
And you can see the disc coming at you. The nice thing about the side shot is you get a better accuracy as distance.
Yeah.
The front shot is a way cooler looking shot. So I just happened to switch over at that exact moment. I was worried that I was going to miss it, because if you watch, he does one little pump fake, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to miss this shot. I'm going to miss the cutover. I'm going to get it like it's a quarter of the way in the air. No big deal. At the time, you're thinking that.
Yeah.
But I cut over just at the right time, and it was it was good, but it was dumb luck, because as we all know, none of us are experts here.
Yeah, that's
Sean asking if we don't own our own server. We do have a computer here.
Sorry,
it's hard because it scrolled really quick. I do have a nice high powered server here, or computer. It's not a server. The application we use doesn't run on server software. It runs on Windows 8. So I got a lot of memory and a lot of stuff here. But the thought was I'm limited as far as bandwidth here at the house. I can only get 5 meg up. If I could get 10 meg up, I would not ever have to worry about anything. I wouldn't have to unplug our Netflix upstairs to make sure that the kids can't use it. So that was the thought behind using an Amazon server, is that I could load up a server with 32 or 64 processors and 60 gig of memory with 800 by 800 bandwidth. And so if you think about that, that's like, why wouldn't you do that? Well, I found out why.
How'd that work for you?
It did not work well.
All right. Everyone's jump putting. That is a whole nother discussion for a whole nother day regarding jump putts. Kale marked his OB with his second putter. That might have happened.
That's what I was thinking.
Was that during the battle?
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I think
he may have done that.
I think he did mark it with his OB with the second putter.
Kale, when we'd have to go check that.
We're not selling collared Smashbox shirts yet. That is something we want to talk about eventually. It's the player's job to call faults on other players, right? Yes, it is. Terry cannot call a fault on a player, I don't believe. Are you? I know you're an official and all,
certified official.
So could you?
I don't.
You could. That's a good question.
Maybe I could, but certainly being part of the media, I would not. In this case, in this case, with me covering the event. Be one thing if I was out there in any other official tournament capacity, but with me covering the event, I absolutely would never enter. It's always weird, and we say we're not really supposed to be part of the play or anything like that because the play is what's the concern. But being a veteran in the game, I do get players frequently like that will ask me, well, what's the rule or what they say there, and it's hard for me to keep my mouth shut. But that's not my business. You guys kind of need to sort that out. So that can be a very challenging thing to do.
Andrew, that was one of my favorite moments too. On your way to the playoff, we got this great shot of you just more or less bulldozing through a crowd. Well, and you had to. I mean,
I for a second I thought we were like.
We had the second camera up by the basket, but it's not the same.
No, and I was honestly thinking, like, because people were kind of slowly getting over there, and we were talking to Steve Rico and Kelsey on the way over, and talking to people as we were walking over there. And again, they move things along a lot quicker than than we've seen in the past. So that was part of the whole, possible interview thing, which didn't happen. And then when we walked over, I was taking my time because I really didn't realize everyone was already getting in position. And when I saw that there was a gallery and a crowd and everybody was ready on hole one, I'm like, oh my God, we are not missing this shot. And so, yes, if I plowed you over, I don't apologize.
Yeah, someone said you almost knocked over Jen Allen. So.
Sorry, Jen Allen.
Sorry. These are dry fit shirts, by the way.
Yes.
These are not like t-shirt material. This is nice dry fit shirt.
Yep.
So everyone, you can be aware of that. It would be a conflict of interest. I don't know if it's a conflict of interest for you to call a penalty, but I just think it's out of place.
Yeah, and there's way too much that people think that we could gain or lose by it, and there's just no way.
Just like there was an instance on the gunite hole where Paige had her first shot was so close to being in bounds. Like it hit the gunite, it looked like it may have crossed over in bounds and gone back out, or even possibly rolled, but
the spotter didn't call it as such.
The spotter didn't call it as such. As much as it kind of looked like it, there was quite a discussion on the board about people freeze framing it. It was hard to tell.
And I didn't see it. We had second camera and
we had second camera, but the thing is, it moved so fast that the frame rate that we can push out at is only X amount, 30 frames per second. It was so fast we couldn't tell. So I thought originally that it had crossed over and then possibly the spotter missed it.
Sure.
But it turns out, I don't think, after reviewing it again and again and again and seeing somebody else, I don't think it did. So I think they made the right call. But I was kind of worried because that was a big integral part right there. She had lost a lot of strokes there.
Yeah. And it does say right in the PDGA question and answer section that currently, and somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but currently calls and plays and shots are not reviewable via
live video shot and video.
Via video.
You can't go back even if someone's there filming it right next to the basket. You can't go back. That's not eligible.
That's not permissible or what did they say in court?
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. I've never been there. So. But that is not allowed to be
everybody, used. Okay, we have to get this out of the way. Everybody's asking, what are we covering live next? I've seen it like 1,000 times in general from people, not just the board or thing. Do we know what we're covering next?
I'm not sure that we have it fully locked down. A few of the...
We're working with some people. We are for sure. We just want to make sure to get all of our ducks in a row.
Yeah.
We know for a fact we're covering Maple Hill. That has been that's a 99% chance.
That's what someone tells me on the Facebooks.
Yeah,
I think we've heard that.
But
okay.
we may be covering something before Maple
We're
Hill.
covering the Vibrant Birdie Bash.
The Birdie Bash.
We're just before
Worlds.
Am World starts. We're going to be covering the Vibrant Birdie Bash Championships, which takes place over in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So we're covering that. Matt Siri, I know, is on the board somewhere. Matt has reached out to us, and we've gone back and forth countless times. We're still weighing pros and cons, costs and otherwise.
There are some events that just I can't say it's not worth covering live, but there's no value to it.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's less value to it than covering it after the fact, recorded.
Yeah, and so there's lots of discussion. Matt being one of them. The Nick Hyde is going to have phenomenal players.
Yep.
And,
for sure.
Down April 11th and 12th, there may be a battle that could happen.
Yep.
But 11th and 12th, the Nick Hyde Memorial is going to be going on in Texas. I will be there in some capacity. Nick and I have confirmed that.
Yep.
I'll be there. It's a matter of.
And then, I mean, there's also, as we've stressed, when you add 2 cameras, that doubles our cost. We have to have people there. We need to do things like that.
Double cameramen, double cost. Yeah.
So then there's the issue of is it 1 camera coverage versus 2 camera coverage, which will cut our costs in half. Not quite half, but it'll cut our costs a little bit.
Will we get the double mint twins there?
Oh, no.
I think I'm dating myself.
Married.
I know. I just thought they could be there.
They could be there to help out,
grow the sport. So, all right, hashtag grow the sport.
But one of the things we do plan on doing at events that you're at are event wrap-ups. That's kind of this memorial. A lot of people reached out and said that they like the event wrap-ups,
the nightly action.
So we do plan on doing that for a lot more events. It's just a matter of finding a lot more big events. We'll put it that way. We're not doing it for your C tier. Don't call us from Missouri. I suppose if you've got a little C tier in Missouri and you call us and want to pay us to come out to do a post event wrap up, we will do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, we definitely will. So we will be working with Matt Siri. I know that Nick Lelm is also on the board, and Nick has talked to us about the Mad City Open in regards to live versus recorded coverage. So there's a conversation to be had there. I've talked to Scott Kesey and the gentleman over at the Masters Cup as to what is or isn't possible. Again, cell signal there out at De La, as many can attest, is absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
So that may not be a possibility. The Rumble we covered last year.
Yeah.
We were able to cover, and you wouldn't think that they'd have good signal out at the course that they play the final round out at West Park. But we found last year we actually had pretty good service out there.
It was surprisingly
And so
decent.
if the guys from the Rumble reach out to us, there is a conversation that can be had there as well. I know they had us last year. So again, that's a possibility.
Yep.
Some of the other ones, I think that's a lot of them that we know of for sure.
Yeah, those are
I know
ones
that
we've had a lot of
Daniel
talk
Bow has had a conversation with us. Again, at the end of the day, I think I said that 3 times now. It comes down to money is all that it comes down to. Whether it's a sponsor inside or outside your tournament, whoever it might be, it all comes down to those costs of us being.
And I'll
there
say
to
this,
do it.
and nothing may pan out from this, but we had 1 or 2 people reach out to us after this broadcast about some sponsorship opportunities and commercials and things like that. And we had, even a professional advertising person say, "Hey guys, I like what you're doing. Blah blah. Let's talk."
Yeah.
Nothing could come of it.
Yeah, and it might, or they could get us big money,
or we could have $100,000 waiting for us next week, right?
$1 bill,
right?
y'all.
Please.
ESPN sponsor conversation. And if people know people, we'd love to talk to them. The Leave It to Beaver wrap-up show. I am hosting a non-sanctioned doubles event Sunday, it's the Random Beaver Roundup. So doubles this Sunday, Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. We hope to see you there. Maybe we could do a big show after that. International Falls, Minnesota, May 23rd. That won't happen, Chris.
Steve Shimon, we were in San Diego last year. Where were you?
He was there.
Oh, yeah.
That won't happen. Memorial Day weekend is obviously the St. Jude event. I'm going to be there in some capacity. Mm-hmm. We've also heard that signal out there is horrible at that particular location to be able to cover that.
Yeah, we talked to St. Jude about that, and there's just this is being the first year and it not really being a super competitive event, so to speak.
Yeah. Well,
it's an event and it's competitive, and there's but there's the money. The money is better spent elsewhere. Let's put it that for that particular event this year.
Yeah.
If it blows up, we hope to be there in the future.
Yeah.
But Terry will be there regardless.
Yes. Gary, are we looking for investors? That probably requires like us doing some kind of paperwork. But
investors. Is it Shark Tank?
And anything's possible. Let's get Mark Cuban on the line.
Yeah, good call.
Maybe he could help us out. There is no rain, as someone said. Oh, making it rain. Yeah, that again, that's the problem.
Yep.
These broadcasts are incredibly expensive, thousands upon thousands of dollars.
If you were to take a guess, how much bandwidth did we go through?
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know, and I don't know if I want to know.
No, I know.
Because I heard you on the phone right before our podcast calling AT&T twice, once to bump it up to 40 gig.
Yeah.
Another time, the next
I
night,
think
to bump it up to 60 gig.
Yeah.
60 gig of data. Go ahead and out to AT&T's website and see what 60 gig of data costs you a month.
Yeah, and then multiply that by Verizon's data, and then multiply that by T-Mobile's data.
Yeah, T-Mobile.
And you'll find that we're gonna have a pretty
hefty cell bill this month.
An enormous, bigger cell phone bill than you've ever seen before in your life for any of you. I can almost guarantee that.
Oh God, yeah.
So yes, yeah, it will be a lot. Matthew, you read that the St. Jude is being filmed by Emerging Sports TV, whose Facebook pages say they're airing shoe racing events as well. Yes.
Yeah, they were there at snowshoeing this weekend. We talked to Mr. Dusler.
Yeah,
he was in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
That's kind of Emerging TV is tied to then Disc Golf Planet. Their plan in some capacity. I don't know all the details of what they're doing, but I do know that they're planning on covering the St. Jude event, and they're going to film it, and then they're going to produce probably a 22-minute show that will then air on the Emerging Sports Network. So anytime you've seen some of the other stuff about disc golf being on cable, that's part of that Emerging Sports or the Beach Sports Network. That's all part of what John Dusler, when they're not streaming live with Disc Golf Planet, they are then also recording and doing stuff for the Emerging Sports Network. So that's where, that's kind of how that all ties in, as if that all makes sense to everyone out there. Crasta Schiss. Yep. AJ, thanks, Disc Golf Boy.
All right, let's work on our final
another giveaway.
Our final giveaway of the night.
Okay.
I don't know how you're doing it.
I don't know either. What I do know is I had asked, and this is kind of fun. That's the whole point of social media. I had asked everyone out there to tell us, or more importantly, show us how you were doing how you were viewing us this last week. And it's amazing because we talk about, it says 4,000 viewers on YouTube at one particular time, but we know and hope that that's really you at your house and you're hosting a party and there's 5 or 10 more people watching it with you. Or that's you in, some of these pictures that came in, you and your kid, you and your kids, or family members or whomever. I mean, we see a lot of people posting and saying, hey, we're having a big, memorial party.
Yeah.
And, we got 12 guys at the house and if you do the math, there was probably one woman then if we do all the demographics.
Yeah.
Just doing the demographics there. So we love seeing that, you, and somebody did make the joke, why are all you people taking pictures of what you're watching on television? Well, because we'd like to think it's kind of, it's still new and exciting in terms of bringing live streaming to you, and whether it's your Chromecast, your Apple products, Look
how many people filmed seeing it on SportsCenter when they heard it was there.
Exactly,
you don't
everybody
see
filmed
disc golf on your television. I mean, you can bring it up whenever you want, but you don't see live disc golf on your television very often.
So that's why a lot of people took their pictures, and we appreciate that, and I asked you to, in fact, go out to our SmashBox page on Facebook, the Facebooks, and post it. And a bunch of people did. And I counted of the people that did, that I'll say fulfilled what I was looking for in terms of telling me what you posted, what you were watching it on, and or take a picture of it. Or take a pic. The picture is the most important part. And a picture of you watching it. And by my count, we had 29 people do that. So 29 different people did that, and I got all your names from Facebook. You're on our page. Go out and like and tweet and subscribe and whatever you need to do there. But go out and like our page. And of those 29 people, I'm going to randomly pick a person.
Well, are we going to use random.org?
We are again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
We're going to randomly pick a person, and then so I've got 29. So let's go out to there's going to be a quick delay here, but let's go to the board and get a magic number of sorts. Oh, you know what? Here's what we're going to do.
Okay. Jeremy
Colling 1, we are going to take the last number of his PDGA number, the last digit of his PDGA number.
Which is...
Usually I'm good with this stuff.
Yeah,
Where's Dana?
I thought you maybe knew.
Or Legend of Zoltar. Jeremy Colling, PDGA, little Google, thanks to Google, 5. 33705. So we're going to click the random generate button 5 times. The 5th time will then match up to the person on my spreadsheet, which it wasn't as fancy as yours, Johnny, but the 5th person, and that's who we are going to award a free As Seen on SmashBox TV shirt. If you already
Perfect.
bought one, thanks. You got a second one coming.
Yep. All right, generate. Ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, God, I knew you were going to go there.
4 numbers. 5. The number
And
8.
Number 8, 1, 2, in my spreadsheet
Yep.
is, in fact, Russell Gore saying that he was watching it on a 42-inch computer monitor. Russell, thank you for the support.
A 42-inch computer monitor.
That's
like,
what, yeah.
Like, I know there's 42-inch TV, but a 42-inch computer monitor. Oh, I'd be in heaven down here.
Yeah, assuming I copied that correctly. He
Yeah,
he said
awesome.
on our Facebook page that he was watching it on a 42-inch computer monitor and took a picture of it. So, excuse me, Russell, we appreciate the support. Get in touch with us, and we'll be sure to send out a As Seen on SmashBoxx.TV shirt. So we certainly appreciate that. Wow. Podcast. We will say Zoe Andike, along with all of our amazing guests. We had so many of them. We've talked to Zoe extensively. We definitely want to find a way to make her a consistent,
regular, a regular
She won't be
contributor somehow.
Don't worry, Dana. She won't be featured. You know, you got to use that F word. She won't be featured. She will hopefully be a reoccurring segment that we have. It may be every week, maybe every other week, maybe every 6 weeks, whatever. But we wish to have her back more often than not. So we will be working with her.
For the record, it doesn't hurt to, to take a picture of what, if you're watching a Smashbox product on TV, take a picture and throw it out there at us. We'd
love to see it.
We would love to see it, and we may run contests like this again in the future. So just have it ready.
Yeah, and speaking of that real quickly, more than one person had reached out to us during the week and said, what's going on with the feed? It says we're experiencing technical difficulties. And ironically enough, that's your stuff, man.
Not us.
That's not us.
Thankfully, usually, if we throw up an error, it is not extremely professional looking.
Yeah.
It'll usually say something like, "Oh no, there's an error," and you'll probably see me scramble, or I'll post something on the board. Mm-hmm. Some people were getting Chromecast errors, and I think they just had to refresh, or it was a bandwidth thing on their side. Sometimes I think if you blow the picture up big enough and Chromecast can't keep up. I don't know exactly how that works. I don't know technology.
But that was
that was not us. So we heard a couple people have that issue. Just refresh your browser and it'll come back. It always does. That's the number one rule.
Yeah.
You'll know if we have a problem because I'll be panicking and doing something.
You'll hear me swearing quietly at somebody while I plow them over out on the course.
Yeah.
Or moving them.
Yeah, I'd say that was one of the other quick hurdles to get over was our 15-second delay, talking to you and then trying to line things up, knowing that there's going to be 15 seconds. I would cut back to you. I'd be like, okay, we're done with this commercial. We're going back to you in like 10 seconds. I'd cut over to you, and it would be like 3 seconds early, and I'd hear you talking to me like, okay, we're ready. Is what I'd hear.
Yeah.
And it only happened a couple times, but I thought it was funny. So it's that live production stuff that we get a kick out of. So. Well, the women's wind-up section for Zoe, that's a good idea.
Zoe, I spoke to her on the phone today, and she's got just a ton of great ideas. It's going to be a matter of, which avenue we're going to take, which avenue she can take. Yep. I said this to her. You weren't there.
No.
I said to her, at this rate, we're going to need two podcasts a week if we keep going with all this disc golf info.
Oh my God, we've been doing this for 2 hours and 15 minutes tonight. And I know our wrap-up shows have ran longer, and starting next week, we'll be back down to our normal hour and a half about.
Roughly.
Yeah, someone else complained about the length of our podcast, and I tell them you can listen to it in fast forward. You can listen to it at double speed if you're listening to it after the fact. Even these the YouTubes will let you watch it at like 1.5 speed.
Yeah.
So if you really want to get through these things, feel free to do that. But yeah, this is an extra long one. This is kind of us hashing out some things and getting questions from you guys. It's a little bit like an after show, but not so much. So yeah, so that's kind of how we feel about that.
Yeah. Why does that say live?
I don't know why it says
an hour and 37 minutes.
I don't know.
But we've been on for 2:15.
I don't know why it says that. It's the YouTube.
What do you know?
Not a lot. I bet you if I refreshed it, it would probably be
don't
right.
touch anything.
I'm not going to. That's kind of how I feel like if things are going well. For instance, the other night when we were doing an after show, someone was, or no, I think we were doing the actual show. Someone's like, "Oh, can you play the Dawson Rico, pond thing, which everybody loved." Mm-hmm. And I thought, "Oh yeah, I'll just load that up in my little setup." Mm-hmm. And I stopped right before doing it, thinking, oh my God, no, things are going so smooth right now. I don't even want to breathe on it.
Yeah.
So I just left it as is. And if you want to go out and see it, you can look at our whole day 3, hole 7.
Mm-hmm.
We might post things up a little after the fact because that people got a kick out of that. So
Yeah, where there was no messing with, things were moving well. And
if
then,
things are moving really well, I try not to mess with them.
Yeah.
Unless I have to. And even then I hit save about 12 times.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, Zoe is awesome, guys. She's doing really well. She's doing coaching. Women for Future podcast interview.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to podcast interview her again. She kind of spilled her guts to us on.
Yeah.
But we will get her hopefully on a segment. We got a couple segments that we got future room for.
Yeah, so we'll be back next week, more than likely with a featured guest, so to speak. Unsure as to who it is at the exact moment, but we will be back, kind of do our regular format next week, and we'll start gearing up for when we're going to see our next live production, and we'll keep you updated with all that stuff.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for everything, for coming out and listening to us babble for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and for watching as much golf as you did out there. I mean, some of those numbers were awesome, and we hope that is the low bar of the year when we put on other broadcasts. I know this is a big event, and that's going to get a lot of coverage, but we do plan on putting on other events, so hopefully we can get some of that response to kicked in. Our goal is to give you the best disc golf that there is out there.
Yeah.
So, and we're doing our best.
Yeah. Well, I usually try to do my best.
I give about 80%.
Yeah,
but that's better than some people's best.
That's true.
Bam.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, ladies and gentlemen. No, we're don't believe there's going to be an after show here.
This is like one long after show.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. Trisha, we know you're a huge supporter. We do appreciate you always being out there. Yeti Bowtie 555. We see you out there all the time. We appreciate it. Everyone that's out here. Sean, thank you. Seti, of course. The DG Beat, DG Weekly, all of those guys, the Disc Golf Show, our broadcast partners in all things disc golf and Inbounds Disc Golf. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Luke, we appreciate it. All of the help, all the amazing people we mentioned earlier in the show, all the people that thought to buy commercials, helped us with some editing.
Just flat out gave a couple bucks.
Yeah, gave a couple dollars or did anything in that capacity. And then all of the guests throughout the week, the PDGA and everyone else, we're just hoping to get bigger and better with every single broadcast that we can do. Look for more podcasts, wrap-up shows, and those things as we move forward. And all we can do is hope to get better and bring you more sweet disc golf action. So for Johnny V here in the studios where he sat all week long.
Like 14 hours a day.
And my sunburn that I've gotten, it's been rough. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, that was podcast number 20, our 2015 Memorial Wrap-Up Show. We appreciate you joining in all week long as well as being here tonight. We'll look forward to you next week on Tuesday night when you step inside the Smash Box.